All right, a Monday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Jack Johnson hanging out with us, heading up until 2 o'clock. The next 4 hours, we've got you. A lot of stuff to get into today. We got some football on the docket, both NFL and college. We will talk some Major League Baseball, some awards. We'll get into some college football, as I just said. We'll talk with Field Yates coming up at 11:30 from ESPN, our NFL insider. We'll hear from Andy Reid as it is Broncos week starting today. AFC West probably on the line. Mick Schaefer will join us in the 1 o'clock hour. We got Learn, Funniest Best, all that still to come on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I'm wondering where to start here because, I want to start with, there's a number of things that I want to start with because I want to have fun at Red Sox fans' expense at some point here in the first hour. We can talk about parity in the NFL, and we can have some fun at the Bills fans' expense as well.
Yeah.
The four of us probably won't have as much fun talking college football here.
Was there a game?
I don't know. You went there. Do you remember it? Do you have any recollection of the game?
Yeah, pregame was a blast.
I bet it was.
After the game, got El Rancho. That was a blast.
I bet it was.
Went to Piano Bar on Friday night. That was a blast. The
I
game
bet it was.
itself, though,
Do you remember it?
Whoa. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember it.
Okay.
I wish I didn't.
Yeah. There's a lot of that going around. You know, let's start with that then. Let's go ahead and start there because that's what you wanted to start with, Sterling.
Oh, thank you.
So let's do that. 913-912-4810 is the text line. We'll start with the college football from the weekend. And there's a couple of things that we can get into from the Mizzou standpoint. It was obviously a disappointing game. And it's disappointing in the current. Also, that yesterday as well was very, very disappointing. But disappointing in the current iteration of the Missouri Tigers and also the larger picture of the Missouri Tigers in college football. And another opportunity that comes and goes without Mizzou taking advantage. And it's back-to-back years where they have had chances. They have had games where they could sort of announce themselves and be in playoff contention. They have not come through in those games. And this loss on Saturday is heightened in the disappointment by the loss to Vanderbilt.
Correct.
Because losing to A&M and losing to Alabama, it's two losses in the SEC if you were to win out the rest of the way and beat Oklahoma. They got Mississippi State, I know that, but beat Oklahoma, and you could put on your resume the wins they have. It would be arguable in terms of what the resume would be. Sure. At least you would still be in the discussion.
Yeah, agreed.
But they are eliminated. Vanderbilt survives Auburn at home after losing the week after beating Mizzou. And so there is the element of what's happened this year, what happened last year, where Mizzou is overall as a program, and if they take the next step. All the while, the backdrop is all of these jobs that are open that may be coming after Eli Drinkwitz. And the question would be, does an athletic director care about a loss to Bama or A&M with a freshman quarterback, or Vanderbilt when it's sort of a giveaway, when you had, clearly the better, the Mizzou Vanderbilt numbers matched A&M Mizzou, only flipped. A&M's numbers against Mizzou was like Mizzou's numbers against Vanderbilt. The difference is the final score was not there. So that's all that matters, is the final score when we're looking at the overall play in the season. You can say, well, just as the Chiefs and Jags. Does it matter that the Chiefs were the better team on the field with the Jags? No, it doesn't matter because they lost the game. And that's what ultimately is the difference right now, where if the Chiefs were to lose on Sunday, the AFC West is all but gone. The math doesn't math for the Chiefs to win the West if they were to lose on Sunday, just as the math does not math for Mizzou to be able to get into the playoffs with a loss to A&M. I don't know that athletic directors will care that they lost to A&M. They may care if he loses a couple more games. At that point, it's like, okay, did the shine come off Eli, and now athletic directors aren't feeling confident enough with their fan base that they would go and hire that guy, as opposed to a third straight 10-win season would be a little bit different. That's the bigger picture, I think, of this loss to A&M. The smaller specific picture in the loss to A&M is a play here or there in games that they have lost, while also some other games where you felt like this is a huge opportunity and they just get boat raced. But also the questions around, well, your record is this against top 25 teams. Your record is this against teams in the SEC that finish with a winning record in conference.
Sure.
But also some of those teams finishing with a record that is not a winning record. It's hurt by the fact that Mizzou beat them, which, what would be better is to say, do they have a winning record outside of the loss against Mizzou?
Sure.
Because Mizzou beating them gives them a loss. But that's, one way of looking at it, but it doesn't change the fact with the record of what it is. Can Mizzou get to another level? We'll find out. But that was a game in which clearly Matt Zollers and whatever the plan was not ready for A&M. And the offensive line and the different schemes and things like that. Well, I want to play Caden Green here in just a little bit in him talking about it. But it was disappointing because the game got out of hand. And as it started to get out of hand, it's like this team has really desperation to feel like they're getting back in it, but they really weren't going to get back in it. And the whole thing may have changed right before half when Eli changed his strategy before half to just run the football, get out of half down 7-0. You get the ball to start the second half. You get a long run from Jamal Roberts, and all of a sudden you go, all right, let's pass it.
Yeah.
3 times in a row, and it results in a sack, fumble, return to the 2-yard line, and now you're down 2 scores. Then you go 3 and out and give up a touchdown run, and now you're down 21-0. Where
it should have been 7-0 heading into half, and you get the
Getting
ball
the
at
ball.
half. And
100%.
And it just felt like time and time. Special teams were atrocious in this game.
Did it feel like you were there? Did it feel like halftime the game was over when that happened, or
no,
was there confidence that they can get back in this thing? Hold on, let's not.
Well, if the
panic.
defense was playing good enough to that, it was going to be at least a chance. At that point, you're like, well, that's a kick in the stones. That sucks, but the defense looks like they're doing a really good job overall. They might give the offense enough opportunity to at least make this thing interesting, and then who knows if it gets close. Matt Zollers, every pass, I've never seen a guy with less touch than him.
Oh, my God, he threw 100 miles an hour every single time he threw the ball.
Every pass was just as hard as he possibly could. You could be 2 yards away, and in the stands, you notice it. You're just like, what is going on?
Well, they talked. Finally, Jesse Palmer noticed something in the game, which was nice. That man, I miss Uncle Vern. I miss the CBS SEC, and now it's Big Ten, doing those games. But I miss the CBS SEC because I could do without Tessitore and Jesse Palmer on any game any big game in the SEC. But go ahead.
Every single pass was a rocket. And so, yeah, the receivers maybe could have done him a favor here and there, but every pass thrown as hard as he possibly could.
Yeah.
You saw the running game at times. The final numbers look better overall because they'd bust off some big ones. To start the game, the 45-yarder by Ahmad Hardy, and we're sitting here going, okay, here we go. We're going to have a fun game here.
A&M can't tackle. This is what the game could look like. Rely on that running game. Ahmad Hardy's going to break tackles. Here you go.
They had 2 running backs rush for over 100 yards, and they lost by 21. That seems nearly impossible. But again, Matt Zoller's in that passing attack was that bad. Special teams was that bad. And then when they got down, it just felt like at some point the defense was going to eventually give up some big plays. They had to. You can only do so much against a Heisman caliber player in Marcel Reed. Again, it felt a little bit like the Eagles and Chiefs Super Bowl of the defense is doing their job, and that final score is not going to be reminiscent of what they did. You'll look back and say, how'd they give up that many points? And you're like, they actually played a really good game. The frustrations offensively, the dumb mistakes, the right before half, it was just it took out all the wind in the sails when the crowd was rocking, especially once it starts getting dark at Faroe. They have this whole new light show, and at that point, the game was almost out of reach. So all this cool stuff that you had planned now fell flat. You saw the students leave in the third quarter.
It gets cold and you feel like you're out of it. There's no reason to hang around.
And it did get cold.
Yeah.
It was just a culmination of frustration. And again, we probably should have saw this coming. Your third-string quarterback, your backup kicker, at some point it's going to give. But there was hope and faith in Zollers. There was hope and faith that this defense, with this rushing attack, could be good enough to hold on. But really what I think the final straw was the special teams fake punt. When that happened, it just felt like everyone goes, we're done. Yep. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, it's the third fake punt converted against Mizzou this year. Unacceptable, first of all. Let's hear from Eli Drinkwitz. This was a question from Vahe, and asking him that sequence before half when you ran it. Jamal Roberts busted off a big run. Looked like the plan was just to go into halftime. Then Mizzou calls timeout with 1:20 after the big run. And then they pass. And that third down in, 6 or 7 results in the sack, fumble, scoop, and damn near score. Changed everything. So Vahe asked the question. There's a follow-up in here as well from Gabe DeArmond. But Vahe asking the question about, it felt like that sequence changed in the middle of that sequence. Did the strategy change based on the big run? So a couple things here. I appreciate Eli Drinkwitz falling on the sword. He is the head coach. The whole, the buck stops with me.
Sure.
And we heard Dillingham from Arizona State say that, not good enough. We need to coach better. And he's saying, the quote that he gave was great. It was a few weeks ago. And he was like, that's my fault. when I say we weren't good enough, well, this is my program. The players that are playing, I recruited. The coaches that are coaching, I hired.
Yeah.
So everything comes back to me. That is me that wasn't good enough as a coach because of the entire all-encompassing circumstances surrounding it. So I get Eli falling on the sword there.
The slight, it should have been a screen play.
And then the drinking of the Coke, Diet Coke.
A little Kirby Moore, maybe a little look.
It absolutely was I guess I should have called for a screen there. And that's not what Vahe was saying was what a terrible call. Vahe was asking, it was simple, did the strategy change once you got the first down? Eli then took it to I guess I should have called a screen there on third down and whatever it was because they were blitzing. Problem is, they had Mizzou twisted up like a pretzel in what they expected A&M to do versus what A&M did defensively and that offensive line. I don't think for us, again, Eli Drinkwitz, if Eli Drinkwitz is saying let's run a full punt return, then what's your special teams coordinator doing?
Yeah.
Because if Eli is making those decisions, hey, let's go for a punt block, let's go for a full return, hey, let's play it safe here, I can understand maybe a conversation, but for him to say, that was my call, the third down play was my call, I don't know that either of those were his call. Maybe the punt return was his call and said, hey, don't worry about playing it. Let's do max return here. Let's see if we can get something going. We're down 14. He said up, but meant down 14. Yeah. Momentum sort of gone in the favor of Mizzou.
They just scored a touchdown.
They were about to stop.
They were about to get the ball back. It was going to be a 3-and-out.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, they're starting to move the football a little better, at least running the football more efficiently. They'll get the ball back, hopefully around the 30-yard line. Yeah, that was.
I want to hear from Caden Green real quick, and we'll continue to weigh in on this because these comments are. Well, let's listen, and then we'll weigh in. Here's Caden Green was asked about, did A&M do anything to surprise you in this game? What that sounds like to me is Mike Elko ran circles around the coaching staff.
Yeah.
Mike Elko's defense in A&M, it's not just better players. If you've got better players and you know what they're doing, well, good luck. I mean, calling out plays at the line of scrimmage, calling out scheme at the line of scrimmage. Eli Drinkwitz went into a longer assessment, was asked about, that third down blitzes for Mike Elko, what was going on. And Eli was like, well, we did this, and then they countered with that. They did this, they did that, they did all of those things. They got us. They got us. And that is absolutely true. But how could you not make adjustments throughout the game if you come over to the sideline and you go, Coach, they're calling out the plays. Hey, they knew this was going on. They knew that was going on. Okay, why? And I think this comes back to coaching, whether it's Eli Drinkwitz or Kirby Moore, because people complain about Kirby Moore and play calling. My issue would be play calling is one easy way to do that, or not handing off to Ahmad Hardy, which, by the way, I'm not sure the complaints about Ahmad Hardy when Jamal Roberts was as successful as he was. Like, people were like, where's Ahmad Hardy as Jamal Roberts busts off a 20-yard run?
Both were great. Both running games were. Yeah. There were some inconsistencies.
But I didn't have a complaint on, why are you giving it to Jamal Roberts? He just picked up 15 yards. Why are you complaining about who's running the football? Maybe Ahmad Hardy would have picked up 20. Maybe he'd have picked up 5. I don't know. But it ain't Jamal Roberts picking up 2 and Ahmad Hardy picking up 20, and he's not
Jamal
playing.
And Thomas Jones.
Exactly right.
These are both very good. 17 for 110 and 13 for 109.
Yeah, so totally fine with how that went. But when the opposing defense is calling out scheme and plays, and Matt Zoller's in the pocket, I thought he did a pretty good job of staying comfortable. Like, he wasn't panicking, but he ends up 7 of 22 for 77 yards. And a number of times they showed the replay from the end zone, there was nobody open. So it's not just play calling, it's also scheme that goes along with it. Like, what's the scheme? Why is nobody open? Are they not winning? Do you not have good enough players? Is Kevin Coleman and Speedy Johnson not good enough? Olugbade not good enough? Joshua Manning not good enough?
I think they're good enough.
Right. So why is Zoller sitting there in the pocket and it looks like everybody's covered from the end zone angle? Like, that scheme. So then, is it play calling? Is it scheme? Is it both? I don't know. But it was going to be tough with Matt Zollers anyway. The hope was that he would offer you something in the passing game. That just wasn't the case. And that was blind hope because you hadn't seen him outside of that Vandy game.
Yeah.
But coming away from this game, the frustration is not only the loss. I think the frustration is the mistakes that were made where you've got the tunnel screen that goes for a touchdown. You've got the fumble right before half that they score a touchdown. And you've got the long run that broke free for a touchdown. It's 21 points, you lost by 21. The whole thing doesn't come down to 3 plays, but it just felt like you couldn't muster anything offensively while having over 200 yards on the ground with 2 different running backs. Yet, this was a game where there were multiple possessions where it was, let's pass, 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 and you couldn't get out of it. I think the frustration is, Eli Drinkwitz and the coaching staff. While I think there also has to be an understanding of Missouri's in this position because of the coaching staff and recognizing your place as a program, and can you get to the next level? Is it Eli to do that? I'm confident in Eli to do that. I don't want another program to hire Eli. I'm good with Eli as the head coach. Can there be another level as the coaching gets better? That's the big question moving forward.
Yeah, real quick with this. Sorry, I just to this point, I don't want Eli to leave. I hope Eli stays. I hope they back it up for Eli because I think that he is such a great recruiter. But I do think it does come down to the OCDC, which has done a great job picking DCs, by the way, and special teams coaches, because that can't all fall on him because he is such a great recruiter. But it feels like every single big game, there's a play, and it never goes Missouri's way. And at some point, who's that on? At some point, why is that happening? Alabama, why did the final way go the way it did? Vanderbilt, this game, obviously, with every single play going the way of the South Carolina game last year.
Auburn went their way this year.
Auburn went their way.
Yeah.
South Carolina last year, right? Remember when that happened? I mean,
yeah.
It just feels like a lot of times Missouri is in these close situations. K-State went their way, but he almost still blew it in that one. So that's my question is.
So the question is, are you getting into this spot good enough to get in the spot, and then you're close to those starting to turn and go your way as you continue to build? That would be the question now moving forward for Mizzou. Does that then get better and those plays go your way now that you've put yourself in position with an Alabama, with an A&M, with an Auburn, with a South Carolina, how good they were last year, to be in position for a play to go one way or another, and it isn't bouncing your way? Are you that close to getting over the finish line to where those start bouncing in your favor?
It's so tough for any OC or any head coach to be, making those play calls for not just backups, but third stringers, right? You're facing A&M, who's a top defense in the country, and that's where it gets difficult in some games where it's 7-0, 14-0, it's 3rd and 9, it's 3rd and 8. Well, yeah, if you had your starter out there, you're probably trying to pass it, but in a situation like before half, to have that gamble, I guess it comes down to, well, how long are you going to keep A&M right there? Are you only going to be trailing by 7? Because if they had that confidence in, hey, our defense is playing well, we feel we've got them bottled up, let's just take this into half, down 7-0. Or if we did break another run, we're in field goal range. That's the other tough part for Mizzou. They've got a backup kicker. That's been the theme for them this year is, in their 2 losses this year with Perbula, you lost to Alabama, you lost to Vanderbilt, 2 teams that are near the top of the SEC. This one, I'm not sure you can evaluate it in the same way because you're on your 3rd string quarterback against one of the best teams in the country and somebody that will be having a bye in the college football playoff. And it has to be incredibly difficult to go into this game saying, well, we need to be conservative, we got to be careful, and not putting too much on his plate, right? You can't have the same play calls for your 3rd stringer as you can with your 1st stringer. And then if you get into opposing territory, it's, well, do we kick it here? We don't have much confidence in the kicking game. We also don't have much confidence in picking up this third down or this fourth down. And that's why I feel closer to halftime, it maybe got into this mentality of A&M's going to make some adjustments in the second half. They're going to put up more than 7. Therefore, we can't be conservative for too long. We have to take shots. And unfortunately, the worst-case scenario happened, which just can happen with third-string quarterbacks.
We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll get into the KU game, losing at Arizona. I was as confident throughout that game that the Jayhawks were going to win. And I want to hear from Michael and Jack if they felt the same, because a couple of KU friends, as we were texting during the game, were like, this game's over. We're losing. The second it got to 17-14, it was like, oh, ball game. Then it was 17-17. And especially the missed field goal was like, oh, 24-20 final. Like, I had a buddy that texted me, 24-20 final Arizona. I was like, shut up, dude. Come on. We'll talk about what we saw Saturday with KU and Arizona coming up next. And then, of course, we have some fun at Red Sox fans' expense. More Zone next. You know, all your favorite NBA players are back, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is the place to bet on NBA stars this season. With more markets open for more of the game, DraftKings, the #1 sportsbook for live betting, is live when others aren't. And that's more of the game. You may go to some other books where live betting is now closed. Well, why? Well, maybe it doesn't work in our favor. DraftKings, no, it's still live when others are not. New customers bet just $5 and get 3 months of NBA League. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Jack Johnson hanging out with us. KU sitting on the season now still with 5 wins, a couple of games left after the bye this week. Then Iowa State, then Utah, needing that 1 win still to get to bowl eligibility, losing to Arizona 24-20. I thought, on Friday we talked about it. I said, unfortunately, I think both the local teams are going to lose this weekend. I think there'll be closer games. I think they'll both cover the spread. Well, one did. They both did not cover the spread, but Arizona beating KU 24-20. And this was, I think, a difference in watching the game from the perspective of, analyst, on-air host, media member, assessing what's going on during the game, as opposed to those with more of an emotional interest and a history with it, because some KU buddies and texting, there was never a feel of like confidence that, oh, they're winning this game. Up 17-7, they're winning this game. And it was like, it felt very Mizzou-esque of just waiting for what the issue was going to be that they would be talking about after the game as to why KU ended up losing this game. And tied 17-17, it's over. Field goal up 2017, should have got a touchdown. Missed field goal, ball game 24-20. That's going to be the final score. That's what it ended up being. Jack, what's your assessment of this game? And were you watching it the way that it seemed like pretty much a lot of my friends that are KU fans, unfortunately, were watching it with a very Mizzou feel to, oh, cool, but they're going to find a way to lose it?
You have to watch the games like that because they've never been any different under Lance Leipold. Lance Leipold has significantly raised the floor of this program. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. It's not to speak into this mic and say he's a terrible football coach, but ever since he took over, any close game, any one-score game, what game do you point to that they've had confidence in winning? I can think back to last year they beat BYU in Provo when they had to make a stop late in the game, and that was really, I think, BYU completely overlooked KU and were sleepwalking through that game. But in some of these tight games this year, last year, the year before that, any one-score game, even if KU's on offense or they're on defense, they're going to find a way to blow that game. And even when they were up 17-7, you get the pick six from Leroy Harris.
Oh, my God, it was over. I was like, that's ball game.
And it would have been probably. Yeah. At that point, I would say 3-score game, you get the ball out of half, you're winning this football game. But go figure, there's a holding call. Then when Arizona, they battle back, they tie the game. It's fourth quarter. Saeed Gibbs, who was out in the first half due to targeting, jumps a route on 3rd and 5. Of course he drops the ball because that's just what happens at KU. You will never make that play that you can return it the other way. It completely flips it. That play is never going to happen. Twice now this year, which is baffling to me, and it shows the preparation for this defense and this coaching staff. They have had a 20-plus yard touchdown run with under a minute to go because the defense had been told, I'm assuming this is not all players, they had been told they're not running the football because the hole that opened up on the line against Cincinnati and against Arizona, it's inexcusable. You have to be taking that into both accounts there. And so for your friends texting you, there wasn't a single KU fan I knew on Saturday when they were up 17-7, when they had the ball up 24-20, where you thought, yeah, they're going to ice this game. They're going to pick up the big first down. And I get it. Jalen Daniels got hurt on the 4th and 2, and we would have gone for. I feel that when a coach says that, we'll never know because he couldn't go back into the game. I also look at this. You're 5-4. A win gets you bowl eligibility. Isaiah Marshall has been used as your wildcat quarterback all season long. He's averaging 14 yards a carry. You have Daniel Highshaw, even if you're not passing, and you get stuffed there. I can live with failing there. I know missed kick is hindsight 2020, but Arizona would have gotten the ball back, needing a touchdown still, with a minute. I think it literally was a minute 50, a minute 55 with the timeout.
Yeah, if because they got the ball with 2:40 something to play, down by 3. If you go for it on 4th and 2 and pick it up, it's an if. You don't press the you got the first down. You'd have the ball at what 1st and goal with so he missed the field goal at 2:40. So you'd have first and goal,
And they're out of
with
timeouts.
about 2 minutes and 35 seconds left, and first and goal, up 3 at that point. So you would be taking another minute something off the clock minimum. You also could punch it in and win the game. I'm with you in that. I know Jalen Daniels, injured, hurt, the knee, fumbled, recovered. Lance Leipold would have liked to go for it if Jalen Daniels was there. I still would have liked to see them go for it because if I'm Lance Leipold, I'm coaching, but I'm coaching with way more of a memory and an investment of what has happened the last couple of years when you have put the game in your defense's hand up by a score, but also like less than a touchdown. And they haven't come through in this particular scenario except for Provo a year ago. But this year, fourth down, amazing catch by Cincinnati, and you're like, of course the guy isn't looking and reaches up and the ball falls into his hands. But I'm going for it because I'm thinking up 3 or up 6 feels the same. It feels the same to me because if I'm up 3, they score a touchdown, down 4, that sucks. I still need to go and score. Touchdown versus field goal is a bit different. But also, if I'm up 6, now that team knows they have to get a touchdown. So now they're going 4 downs, no matter where they are on the field, which is what Cincinnati had to do. And then they continued to convert. I would have liked to see, regardless of who the quarterback was, it could be viewed as hindsight, but even in real time, I'm like, I know Jalen Daniels isn't in there, but I want to go win the game right now and not put it in my defense's hands.
Just like Jack said, it was just the same story over and over and over again. And that's why I think that there's such frustration with Leipold as coach, because they lose the same way every week. When they were up 17-7 at that point, or was it 17-10?
It was 17-7 when the pick 6 happened that ended up not being the pick 6.
Once they came out and scored and made it 17-14, or was it 17? I try to block that game out of my memory. You knew it was over because
it was 17-14.
Again, Leipold has shown over the last 4 years that you're going to lose the game the exact same way, and it like when they didn't go for it on 4th and 2. I understand it a little bit more now because you didn't have Jalen Daniels, but still, Marshall's averaging 14 a carry. Just literally push him forward, and then you win the game. It just, I don't know. I mean, same thing that happens every single week, and we're on to basketball, I guess.
You play to win, and you don't play to not lose, and I feel like that was a play to not lose situation. Again, even if you make it, you're up 6.
And you still lose on the touchdown.
You'd still lose on the touchdown. I don't know. I thought, to me, and again, the Jalen Daniels aspect makes it a lot different situation. I understand that, but it just feels like the risk reward is totally in the go for it situation. I can't imagine.
Would be like I would feel different in terms of, okay, you went for the field goal and it would have put you up 7, and then hey, you're still up 4. And then they knew they had to score, but it was still a 3-point game. And being a 3-point game with, 35, 36 seconds left when Craig runs for the touchdown, like at that point it's like almost like, well, they could pass, but they're also already in field goal range, so they don't want to make a mistake and cost themselves the game. So you've also got to be ready for the run because they could start – because we see coaches all the time get down there to like the 20-yard line and go, okay, we're good. We're good. Let's run it. Let's make sure we don't turn it over. But obviously you want to go and win the game even though you're down by 3. But you can't just expect every single play to be a pass at that point once they get inside the 25-yard line because it's only a field goal game.
Sure.
And so, yeah, they're going to hand off from time to time. But, yeah, the frustration I have to imagine boiling over. Because now you look at the next couple of weeks after the bye week and you say, where's the win coming from that gets you to bowl eligibility? And not being a bowl team this year is a massive disappointment.
It absolutely would be. Back-to-back years where you can copy-paste certain losses on your schedule of you led, you didn't play well, the defense sucked, you had a bad turnover. I mean, even on the play that Jalen Daniels got hurt, is it not so fitting he fumbled the damn football?
As has happened.
I mean, that same thing has happened so many times. As great as Jalen Daniels has been, that same play has happened. KU just fortunately was in the same area there. And what's even crazier about it, Laith Marjan hadn't missed a kick all year, and still when they sent the field goal unit out there, I went, he's going to miss it. It's just, it's what happens. And then for whatever reason, the defense, which also happened against Cincinnati, which also happened against every other close game they've lost, they go into prevent mode. They don't have a spy. They drop everybody back in coverage not to get burned. And Arizona just took what was open right over the middle of the field. That's poor coaching. That's poor execution. And going into this Iowa State game, I mean, I know you have the bye week. I would go for it on every single gamble fourth down. I'm not saying go for it 4th and 10 from your own 20, but any midfield, 4th and 2, you have to show teams that you're aggressive and you are a danger in situations like that. And I feel that Arizona, when they set the field goal unit out there on the field, we won this game. We know we're going to go down and score. And what has this defense ever done in the last couple of years that would give you confidence to say, hey, you know what? We're going to trust them here in the spot. They've played well for 3.5 quarters. Okay, leave it at that. Let the offense go win you the game here, even if Isaiah Marshall's in the game. That gives you 2 threats to run the ball. If it's an option play, if he's polling, if it's an RPO, trust him in that spot. He's going to be your starting quarterback next year. You're 5-4, not 9-0. Like, you lost this game. It's frustrating, but you would have given this team so much confidence if you say, you know what, we're going for it here. Let's give the ball to Highshaw. Let's do a quarterback draw, whatever. But you pick that thing up, your offense goes, man, our coach just trusts us with the game on the line, and we got it done. Instead, you give this damn defense once again an opportunity to get a stop, and they never could. And not at one point did I think they were going to jump a route, get a sack, get a fumble, come up with a stop on 4th and 5. It was never going to happen. It never was going to come close to happening. And I expect the same thing to happen in Ames, and I expect the same thing to happen in Lawrence against Utah, unless that game's just a blowout.
I'm looking back because I'm trying to think, like, it's one of those to where they're down by 3, and it's like, okay, can you get to a 4th down? And no, the only time Arizona had a 3rd down was 3rd and 1 and 3rd and 3. Was the only 3rd down attempts that they had on that final drive for a touchdown. So it wasn't like, boy, this is a struggle and then some crazy broken play happens. That was just a methodical drive down the field and scoring and winning the game. We'll take a time, and by the way, KU with the bye, but Iowa State also with the bye. So, and Iowa State playing at home. So they both have a week to prepare for the other. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone coming up next.
Again, I was at that Mizzou game. It was not a lot of fun, especially the second half. But you know what would have made it way more fun? FanDuel. And guess what, y'all? FanDuel is...
Nick Schaefer at 1 o'clock, KSHB 41 sports director. Learn funniest best before the show is over. We got a lot of football we'll get into in the NFL. The Bills losing, the Chargers finding a way to win, the Colts finding a way to win as well, the Jags finding a way to lose.
Davis Mills, baby.
Chiefs, Broncos coming up on Sunday. Sean Payton loved the matchup in the divisional round had they just got past the team that punked them in the first round. We'll see how much they love the matchup coming up on Sunday. We'll continue talking about that game as this week progresses here on Sports Radio 810 WHB around this huge matchup on Sunday that could decide the AFC West. We have some fun with Red Sox fans next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Jack Johnson hanging out with us. Coming up at 11:30, we will talk with Field Yates. We're going to do a lot of football today. Some NFL football. Chiefs and Broncos getting underway this weekend. Chiefs 3.5-point favorites on the road in Denver. Make a strong argument, the AFC West on the line. We'll get into all of those things with Field Yates and hear from Andy Reid coming up at 12:30. Mick Schaefer coming up at 1 o'clock. Learn Funniest Best. I do want to talk about the Platinum Glove that was given out, and the Royals now have 2 different players to win a Platinum Glove in their history, and the third total Platinum Glove, with Alex Gordon having 2 of them, and now Bobby Witt having 1, viewed as the very best defender in the American League, not just the best defender at his own position, but the best defensive player in the entire league. He and Fernando Tatis winning the Platinum Gloves. And, well, I love the reaction and the frustration of Red Sox fans, because, like, the biggest beef from Red Sox fans is the fact that fan voting is a part of it. So some of the Boston's 10th man. Fan voting for the Platinum Glove makes the award meaningless. This guy, Gordo, Boston Sports Gordo, covers the Red Sox. And this is why you don't leave it up to the fans. Nothing against Bobby Witt, but Cedeno is the most impactful defender in the league. Another one. Any award that used fan voting as part of the selection process can't be taken seriously. The Platinum Glove should have gone to Cedeno Rafaela. Another one. Wow, I have no respect for the Platinum Glove Award now. What a joke. Rafaela, PCA Bailey had the award stripped by idiots that vote. And then another one that says, here's 3 minutes of Cedeno Rafaela playing like a Platinum Gold Glove Award winner, except for the voters that don't watch. Sign my petition if you agree. What I love about this is the Red Sox fans complaining that part of the award process is a fan vote, and just openly admitting that they didn't vote. That's all they're like. If you claim like you're great fans, then why didn't Rafaela get the fan vote? Why did Bobby Witt get the fan vote part of it? Also, even if he didn't get the fan vote, like, we're talking about a center fielder and a shortstop, and this is what's great about defensive metrics, Jack, is that, you know, there are different types of defensive metrics. There's DRS, there's OAA, there's UZR, there's the overall defensive rating at Fangraphs that you can use. And you can find one thing in there that would support your particular player.
That's what I'm doing now to make. I have some just to prove a point.
Well, that's what Red Sox fans have done, is they've used defensive runs saved, and that's it.
And that's it.
They've only used defensive runs saved. They
not
haven't used
total defense, not an ounce above average, not on multiple websites where you can use Baseball Savant
Not
or
at all.
Fangraphs.
Not
No,
at
just
all.
the one.
And also center fielder versus shortstop. If there's a beef, it's Fernando Tatis getting the award over Pete Crow Armstrong, or, I mean, even
Patrick Bailey. Patrick Bailey should have
Patrick
won.
Bailey. Well, I'm fine with Patrick Bailey as a catcher winning, whatever. But Fernando Tatis getting the award over Pete Crow Armstrong, Bailey, Mason Wynn. Like, there's a number of guys out there that you feel like are better defenders than Fernando Tatis. I just love that it's Red Sox fans complaining that people voted for a player in Kansas City for the small market Royals over the Boston Red Sox, and complaining the fan vote while considering themselves probably better fans than the Royals fans.
And if there's any player that can complain about fan voting, let us not forget that Bobby Wood Jr. has yet to start at shortstop in the All-Star game.
Fan voting's amazing.
Yeah. So with situations like this, yeah, you'll have people that vote based off name alone. Fernando Tatis Jr. over Pete Crow Armstrong, or as you guys said, Patrick Bailey. I mean, that's, again, the fan part about this. Center fielder, high-value position, right field, not so much, but there's a lot of people that know Fernando Tatis Jr. and the swagger and the flair, and it looks cool when he's out there. And unfortunately, with fan voting, you will have that. Why did Javi Baez start in center field over Byron Buxton in the All-Star game?
Right.
Because Javi Baez has the smooth, cool look about him. It's Javi Baez, who's been on the cover before of MLB The Show. So that part of baseball is always going to be around. There's always going to be a side that complains about someone not winning a Gold Glove, somebody not winning the Platinum Glove. But with Bobby Witt Jr., see, it'd be much different if what happened on the National League side happened on the American League side.
Yeah.
Defensive run saves, too. I feel like outfielders just rack them up a hell of a lot more than shortstops can. Bobby Witt, I think, had like 3 defensive runs saved, and you can go, well, he only had 3, and Sadon had whatever he
20.
did.
Mason
20.
Wynn had 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Trey Turner had 2. A shortstop, you just can't
Yeah,
get.
Mookie Betts had a high defensive run save this year, but
Looking at shortstops, like no shortstop is above that number. Third base, all of a sudden you can get into like a lot. Like Brian Hayes had 19. Catchers have a lot, but I've not seen a single shortstop so far above 3.
No, I mean, if you're at one of the hot corners, too, you can turn a double into an out, right, by a diving play. And shortstop, it's just much harder to have the higher defensive run save metrics, unlike a center fielder. I also believe this is factored in, too. Rafael has been, he did spend the majority of time, I think, like 140 games in center field this year. He also had 24 at second base. And there are people that are going to go, well, he's a utility guy. Sadon's played everywhere in Boston. I mean, he's been a center fielder, he's been a shortstop, been a second baseman. He bounces around where, to some people voting, and that's why it's always funny when we talk about voting in general, it's not always the loudest people in the room. It's the people that make an effort every single year, whether it be politics or it be sports. I'm going to go vote. There's been times that I haven't voted for certain awards, and I'd be like, oh, that's dumb. Well, I didn't do my part. I didn't vote for my player that I wanted to win. And so that's where, when you have the complaints, well, you got to go, and it's what the Royals did in 2015. Just vote and vote and vote and get your guys in it or get your guys to win it. But for Rafaela, an elite defender, one of the best defenders in the entire sport, high-value position in center. But, of course, the biased view will come out for me here. There's not a better defender at his position or in the sport than Bobby Witt Jr. at shortstop.
Well, and looking at, if we just look at specifically defensive runs saved, okay, Rafaela's got 20, Bobby Witt's got 3.
By the way, Luis Ariz has the same amount as Bobby Witt Jr., so I think you might have something wrong with your statistic if Luis Ariz.
Well, again, it goes to positional value that's there. The outs above average, because defensive run saved is essentially where's the ball hit and do you get to it? So if you're an outfielder and you have great range and Rafaela, an awesome defender, and you run a long distance to catch the ball and you take a great route, you're going to get a higher percentage there. If essentially defensive run saved, if it's viewed statistically and whatever the algorithm is, that it's a 30% chance of an average major league player catching that ball in the outfield, and you make the catch, you get 0.7 added to your defensive run saved. So that's a pretty decent amount. Now, if you drop the ball, you get minus 0.3. So making the bigger plays and getting there and covering a lot of ground can put you in a position to where, okay, if we look at just defensive run saved, like Michael Garcia has 10 more than Bobby Witt Jr. in defensive run saved at third base. Where's Kyle Isbell at? Isbell has 6 more than Bobby Witt in center field at defensive run saved. But what separates defensive run saved and outs above average, where Bobby Witt has 24 and Rafaela has 22, is that outs above average for infielders takes into account the range where you get to the ball, the intercept point of the ball, the speed of the base runner, because playing shortstop is different than center field. When you go and catch the ball in center field, you don't have to then pop up and make the throw to first. The speed of the base, where the base runner was when you fielded the ball, how quick the ball was hit into the into whatever gap it is. If it takes 3 seconds to get there, you've got a better chance of getting the runner. If it takes 4 seconds to get there, you've got a chance of getting the runner. Outs above average takes all that into account. So no kidding, Bobby Witt's at 24 compared to defensive run saved of, did you get to the ball?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you got to the ball, right. But when you got to the ball and dove and scooped it, did you pop up and make the throw to first accurately to get that runner? That matters. Rafaela making a diving catch doesn't have to then pop up and get the runner to first who's running. Now, you can have a great arm in the outfield to get somebody going first to third or get somebody tagging from third, going to home on a sac fly. Those things matter. But that's why outs above average is such a vast difference in Bobby's numbers, being 17 defensive runs saved lower than Rafaela, but 2 outs above average higher than him, because at shortstop, you also have to get the runner at first. You dive into the hole, you've got to get up and throw 97 on flat ground without taking 2 or 3 steps in a crow hop to go and get there. And to get the runner there and make an accurate throw. Now, Vinny being as good as he's become over at first certainly helps. And also, one of the outs above average, or is it defensive runs saved? I think it's defensive runs saved that when they factor in infielders, I think the only part of infielders that they factor in is double plays. So your ability to turn double plays. And is this a double play that's tougher, whether you're the receiving player or the throwing player, where you're at compared to the second baseman if you're at shortstop? And that's fine, but is that really the mark of what makes a great shortstop, is to, factoring in just simply double plays turned? I think factoring in how fast the base runner is, where you got the ball at, what the intercept point of the ball was, all that makes it a much more difficult position at shortstop, which is why then outs above average then equalize for positional strength, and he's higher than Rafaela, and Fangraph's defensive rating overall, which takes in runs saved, UZR, and outs above average. Bobby's at 23.6, Rafaela's at 18.7.
I also think that the point that's being glossed over in the argument is the fact that Bobby Witt Jr., this is just for my love for Bobby Witt Jr. and how great he's become. He went from being a guy that we thought probably couldn't stick at shortstop because he wasn't good enough defensively to now being the platinum gold winner in baseball. Mm-hmm. Like, again, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it was moving for Alberto Mondesi.
2022, he was the worst defender in baseball.
And
he was absolutely the worst. He was dead last in defensive runs saved at -18, and he was 240th out of 250 players that qualified at outs above average at -9. He's 31 outs above average difference in 2025 than he was in 2022. It's 3 years, 31 difference.
And so I just think that whatever this is, in Red Sox, they can complain all they want. They can kick rocks, pound sand, and talk about their love for Harvard that none of them went to. But they have a great school, at least in their area.
They packed the cat, Harvard, yeah.
Yeah, they can't pronounce anything, but at least there's Harvard there. The Bobby Witt Jr. defensive growth is just a testament to him and his development and his work ethic. I just find that so insane. Imagine, for the football terms, if there's the worst tackle in the NFL, and then all of a sudden you become the best tackle. And imagine if Trent Williams, when he came to the NFL, was just atrocious. Just atrocious. Or if Patrick Mahomes came to the NFL and Patrick was
Bobby didn't grade out as just
Nathan Peterman, and then Nathan Peterman turned into Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, Bobby didn't just grade out as the worst shortstop. He graded out as the worst defender in 2022. Defensive player in all of baseball. His outs above average in 2022 was tied with MJ Melendez. And he was dead last in defensive runs saved that year. And again, that was his rookie year. And Jack, I went into 2023 saying the best third baseman on the team is Bobby Witt, and Michael Garcia should probably play shortstop and put Bobby at third, because we saw it this year, and it was really rough in the number of games that he played at shortstop. That was pretty bad. I'm not sure there's can the bat get good enough to overcome the defensive issues? And you want to talk about a guy who's driven to be the best? That's what I love about these guys in Kansas City, Jack, and Patrick Mahomes and Bobby Witt, in that Patrick has a deficiency, and he will spend tireless hours working on it to improve that. Bobby Witt had a atrocious defensive season his rookie year. That could have crushed some people mentally. Finally make it to the big leagues, and all these numbers say how terrible. I'm the worst defender in all of baseball. Worst defensive player in all of baseball. That could crush you. Instead, what did he do? He went back, broke everything down, and started from the ground up. Let's start from the beginning. Footwork before, first steps, second steps, approaching, showing glove, all of that, planting, firing. He started from the ground up in the offseason, and now 3 years later, he's the best defender in baseball.
Well, a lot of credit deserves to go to Jose Aguasel, who came in and worked with a lot of these guys. I mean, Salvador Perez learning first base, Vinny getting better at first base, Michael never playing third base really ever at the professional level, being a second baseman, being a shortstop, and then learning that spot.
And winning Gold Glove.
And winning a Gold Glove. It shows you how far that coaching staff has come in working with some of these guys. And I always thought that with Bobby, that year where he really struggled, how much of it was being a 21-year-old kid who had never seen this type of exit velo before. He's at shortstop. It is an incredibly difficult position to learn. I remember back to when Marcus Semien was actually in Chicago early on in his career. Awful defender. Awful defender, was slower, had poor range, the arm wasn't as good. And now you talk about Marcus Semien as one of the better defenders in the sport. You know, when he was in Toronto, then he goes to Texas. You just get better with footwork. Your arm gets stronger. You mature a little bit more. And for Bobby, I mean, when you see him up close, he is one of those physical specimens of, man, I mean, he's quick, he's strong, he's got the arm, he's got the footwork. Everything about him screams the perfect makeup for a shortstop. And you look back at some of those highlights in 2022, you see somebody that looks like he was in high school not too long ago, and he didn't have the arm yet. He was incredibly fast, but now it's almost all come together where every ceiling that he could have reached has been reached. Now you hope overall as a player he'll win multiple MVPs and this and that, but this goes to show you, like, in a year where he wasn't as good as he was in 2024, he won a Silver Slugger, he won a Gold Glove, he's a Platinum Glove winner, he hit 295, he stole 30-plus bases. I mean, still, and you could be like, well, he wasn't as good as he was in 2024 when he hit 330 and still was one of the best defenders in the entire sport.
Still led the league in hits and doubles this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous.
What would you set the over-under on Platinum Gloves? And I hate to get ahead of ourselves, but hold on. Gordo won 2. This is already the second one for Fernando Tatis, okay? And you can make a case that neither of those he deserved. But Fernando Tatis has become a star as a corner out. Nolan Arenado won 6 straight. Once he started winning them, it was like, okay, kind of like starting in an all-star game. This is just who you vote for. And if the fan vote is that big of a deal, and Bobby Witt is becoming more and more of a star and clearly recognized by a lot of people around the sport as a defensive stud, now it combines fan vote and the defensive metrics. That's what I think Red Sox fans are missing, is that it isn't just a fan vote. It's not starting for the all-star game. It's fan vote along with the defensive metrics that they use. It's not a vote by the writers or anything like that. They take those defensive metrics of UZR, DRS, outs above average, defensive rating overall, and the fan vote, and combine it, and Bobby Witt ended up winning. I just wonder, moving forward, when we've seen guys that have already won it have sort of a reputation to win it again, and how much the fan vote matters. I mean, do we set it at 2.5? Platinum? I mean, 3.5? Gordo got 2. Yachty won 4 out of 5. Deservingly.
I think shortstop's the hardest.
But you've seen guys win a number of them once they win one, and they have the reputation of this guy's a defensive stud.
Agreed. I think Arenado at that time was so far and away.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that he didn't deserve it.
I think Yachty was also that as well at catcher. I think shortstop and honestly center field might be the hardest one to consist because there's so many great defenders at shortstop and center field.
Yeah.
I know it's platinum, so you include all that to begin with. That's part of the conversation here. I would say if it was set at 1.5, I would take the over. I think if it was set at 2.5, I think 2 is probably the number I'd go for. I'd probably say 1 more. That's not a knock on Bobby.
Yeah.
I just think that there's so many great defensive center fielders and shortstops. Hell, Denzel Clark next year might get into the equation. I think it's so hard.
I throw in the equation that he's still only 25 years old.
It's insane. I know.
And there's still that the peak of a MLB player's career is typically 25 to 29. And so if you make a strong case that Bobby's just now coming into his prime of playing baseball, and with the reputation, is 2.5 too high to set the over-under? 1.5? Because 2.5, I may probably be tempted to take the over just on reputation as a 25-year-old already getting that platinum glove and being in the mix last year for a platinum glove, now back-to-back Gold Glove winner.
I feel 2.5 is fine, and I wouldn't, hate it if somebody said 3.5. Just because some of the National League defenders, I look at Pete Crow Armstrong, and why I go back to some debates in the past to bring in a former Royal. It was like Lorenzo Cain and Kevin Pillar. A lot of people voted for Kevin Pillar because he could make those.
Blah.
And he's scaling the wall and he's diving, but he was 5'10", and every ball that he had to get to, he
Hey,
had to
what do you
dive.
have against 5'10" guys?
Hey,
Jack?
I'm 5'11" myself, so and it would take a lot of my energy to get to a certain ball. But Lorenzo Cain never won it because every ball he got to, he just was gliding in the outfield. He would just catch it, and so that part of it gets measured into it. But for Bobby, he makes the easy plays look easy, and he makes the hard plays look easy. And so I look.
And he's got the flash plays too. He's got the highlights to go along with it.
And that's the fan voting part of this, where I look on the National League side. Pete Crow Armstrong does both. Mason Wynn does both. Patrick Bailey's he's just not much of a threat offensively. That a lot of people that are voting, you don't think catcher, because what catchers do, it's when they throw somebody out or they frame something or they do an extraordinary play behind the plate, it doesn't pop as much as a shortstop or a center fielder. Now, as Sterling said, Denzel Clark absolutely could be that guy to put himself in the conversation. But as fans do with all-star voting, well, if Denzel Clark's doing that but hitting 210, he's probably not going to get the votes if Bobby Witt Jr. is doing this again next year and hitting 300. You can bring Cedar Rafaela into that conversation, and that's why I believe a lot of people didn't vote for him, because he wasn't the guy that popped with Boston. Elite defender, one of the best in the sport, and will absolutely win a Platinum Glove at some point. But when you factor in the fan voting on the American League side, it's Bobby Witt Jr. in first place by a comfortable margin, in my opinion.
Yeah, the three catchers that have won a Platinum Glove is Yachty, Trevino with the Yankees, and last year Cal Raleigh won. But he didn't win the Gold Glove this year at catcher, so I do wonder, had he been a Gold Glover at catcher this year with the 60 home runs, does that get the fan voting go, oh, well, Cal Raleigh's got a Gold Glove, and he's this, that's awesome. I love Cal Raleigh's fun, the Big Dumper. He's got a great nickname. And so we'll see, moving forward. But Bobby Witt's going to continue to win Gold Gloves, and that then puts you in contention for the Platinum Glove, because the first is the only way you can get to the second. And I just think the American League's been interesting because the National League had the Yachty dominance, followed by the Arenado dominance, followed by Tatis, Terang, Tatis.
Oh, Brian Hayes didn't get one in there?
No. Huh. And the American League was, I'll just go through the years because it started in 2011. Here's the American League. Beltre, Machado, Gordo, Kiermaier, Lindor, Buxton, Chapman, Gordo, Correa, Trevino, Jimenez, Raleigh, Bobby Witt. It's a big difference in the American League of how many different players have won it versus the National League. It was just dominance, but there was one or two particular players that stood above everybody in that league of defenders, and I think that's where Bobby's at in the American League of Defensive Players, that he is now separating himself from others in the American League at a premium position while being an MVP candidate, while leading these defensive metrics and outs above average and defensive rating. I think he's got at least one more, and I'd be surprised if it's only one more out of the rest of his career, honestly, because Gordo got two. He didn't win them all in a row, but Gordo got two.
Yeah, he had a large gap.
14 to
between.
20. So there were 5 years where Gordon didn't win one. But he
won the
still
COVID year one, didn't he? Was that what it was?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. It's actually a different platinum glove. It's got a platinum glove with a mask over it. Just so you know that it was a COVID year. We'll take a time out, come back. We'll talk with Field Yates coming up next. Yeah, we've told you all your favorite NBA players, they are back, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is the place to bet on NBA stars this season. With more markets open for more of the game, DraftKings, the number one sportsbook for live betting. It's live when others
Jason, I am doing well. One minor correction. We do have a fun Monday Night Football game tonight.
Oh, that's right.
to
Yes, it is
conclude
not.
Week 10.
Yeah, that's right. It is not.
But I understand that for all intents and purposes,
Yes.
on the AFC, Week 10 is behind us. And I would say, thinking of this strictly through the Chiefs lens, I would say an okay week, right? Like an okay week in terms of things that took place around the AFC. Not a great week, not a perfect week, but an okay week.
Yeah, from the Chiefs' perspective, it wasn't too bad in the fact that the Jags end up losing and
Yep.
the Buffalo Bills
Bills.
end up losing. It would have been nice had the Steelers found a way to beat the Chargers. That would have been cool.
Steelers and Raiders would have been the big ones, right?
Absolutely. But that did not
And
happen.
the Bucks, yep.
Yeah, right. The Bucks.
And the Falcons, for that matter, I suppose.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the Falcons. There were opportunities there for it to be a really good weekend, but we can't be selfish. You know what I mean? And greedy. You can't make it all about every single win going the Chiefs' way. But I do want to talk about the Bills and Dolphins game because I think it's easy to look at it and go, well, this is a Chiefs hangover. We always talked about like Marty in the 90s when it was Raider week. It was like, Marty Schottenheimer was amazing against the Raiders, not so much the week after. The Bills have been pretty good the week after beating the Chiefs in the regular season. So we can't just chalk this up to, well, it's the week after the Chiefs. This is what they do. What do you make of that game? Another example of parity in the NFL. Bills overconfident, going to Miami thinking they could just walk out there and win. Miami with a rally the troops type game. I don't know. What do you make of that game? Because it wasn't particularly close either.
Yeah, let's put it into two categories, both sort of the mentality and tangible stuff, and then the on-field X's and O's personnel stuff. Is maybe the Bills felt like this was, it was sandwiched between two monster games for them. I think it's fair to say the biggest game of the Bills' regular season was going to be the Chiefs, given the history between those two teams and the stakes involved in that game. But they play the Buccaneers next week as well. That game is up in Western New York. Going into yesterday, at least, both of those teams were still in first place in their division, but the Bills with a chance to hang tight and at least remain tied with the Patriots in the loss column if they had won yesterday as well. So perhaps this team just came out flat because they emptied the tank last week against Kansas City and they were looking slightly ahead to Tampa Bay. I think that's an excuse, candidly. I think that's a team who's been playing meaningful football games for far too long to have letdown spots like they had yesterday. If you want to talk about the schematic side of it, that to me is more interesting. And the personnel side of it is right now the Bills are showing a serious vulnerability in terms of ability to get separation in the passing game. The Bills have a lot of guys who would be solid number threes in your passing offense. They definitely don't have a number one target, and they maybe have a fringe number two target in Khalil Shakir, but he's not the kind of guy that you need as your number one wide receiver. Keon Coleman, their second-round pick a year ago, did score a touchdown yesterday, but that was one of just two catches he had. On top of that, the Bills have this serious weakness of being able to defend the run, and Devon Achane, they got 174 rushing yards yesterday. He was an absolute monster for Miami, including some gash runs. Not like, 5 or 6 yards at a time, but a couple where that whole part's like the Red Sea, and next thing you know, it's Devon Achane going 35 yards to the house. that vulnerability doesn't matter as much when they're playing against Kansas City because of the Chiefs' pedestrian running game. But against other teams, it is really, really going to matter.
Yeah, it's a little frustrating, too, watching the Miami Dolphins run all over the Bills a week after the Chiefs were decently successful running the football, but not consistently staying with it. But that's Andy Reid. It's just not something he's going to do. And the Chiefs also don't have somebody like Devon Achane that can, take a 3 or 4 yard run and slip through a defender or a little bit of a gap and then pick up 7, 8, 9 more yards, or a home run that Devon Achane can bring. So that much not a surprise. Are you? I mean, I want to look back at the trade deadline, and one of the things that people around here certainly were talking about was a running back for the Chiefs, but we had moved on to sort of defensive line. Brees Hall was talked about there late. But before we talk about that, the Bills, we discussed like their lack of number one receiver last year, a move for Amari Cooper, and nothing really this year, whether there was something available or not. Are you surprised, and I don't know all the things going on in Buffalo with draft picks or cap hit, that it wasn't we've got Josh Allen on this big contract that's going to continue to kick in. We need to take advantage of this, and James Cook is our running back and our offensive line. Let's go and get somebody that could be a difference maker. We did it last year with Amari Cooper. We need to get past the Chiefs, and this set of receivers may not be the players to get us past the Chiefs this year.
I definitely think they kicked the tires on a lot of the names that we were discussing all throughout the, 2 to 3 week window leading up to the trade deadline, where the names started to circulate a bit more and more. I don't think it was for lack of effort, and I don't want to sit here and make it seem in the same way that when the Chiefs are 1-3 or when they're 5-4, we don't come out here and say, hey, this team sucks, the season's over. It's, hey, this is a really good team within a bit of a dry spell right now in terms of record, and has its work cut out for it going forward. The Bills are in that same spot, I believe, right now, whereas they're not a bad team by any stretch. I still think, they obviously won the game last Sunday against the Chiefs, and they that's a high-stakes, big-time AFC. That felt to me like, you could have told me that was divisional round or conference championship weekend. It had that sort of atmosphere, as much as one game can in early November. The Bills, some of the roster flaws right now, they've got a ton of good players, but a couple of spots that have kind of been a bugaboo for them, right? They haven't been able to, they've added some pass rushers, but have not had like this true dominant edge rusher that has really sort of changed the trajectory of their defense. And as a result of that, the cover corners have been kind of up and down for them. Their first-round pick, Max Hairston, has played 2 games, has 2 interceptions, so he's showing some promise. But on the offensive side of the ball, they have used some high draft picks on guys that just haven't been difference makers at the skill spot, whether it's Dalton Kincaid, a first-round pick a few years ago who got hurt yesterday with a hamstring injury. We'll see whether he's available next week or not, or Keon Coleman, who they took him 33rd overall. So it was I think that was following the Xavier Worthy trade, and then following the trade with the Panthers as well. So they just haven't really they have not really identified or found a guy that can be just sort of the default for Josh Allen. It's great when you can have this kind of egalitarian approach, but we have seen it at times for the Bills rear its sort of uglier side of the head, which is if Josh doesn't have a guy that push comes to shove, third and gotta have it, 3rd and 7 in the fourth quarter, even no matter what the defense is telling me it wants me to do, I'm just going to throw the football to this guy. Yeah. Kind of like I think Patrick has had for, 7-8 years now with Travis Kelce, and it seems like he's getting there with Rashee Rice right now. Maybe he's already there with Rashee Rice. There's not that guy for Josh right now.
Visiting with Field Yates from ESPN. So, I mentioned Devon Achane, and boy, that'd have been great to be in a Kansas City Chiefs uniform, but they weren't trading Waddle. Clearly, they weren't trading Devon Achane. He forced 11 missed tackles against the Bills, and in fact, 195 of his 225 yards from scrimmage came after contact, which is amazing for a guy who's 5'0", 100 and nothing. The Rudy of running backs, essentially. But man, he's such a difference maker. I bring that up because there was a conversation around here on Wednesday. Tuesday afternoon on into Wednesday, when the report came out that the Chiefs had offered a 4th rounder for Brees Hall, the Jets were holding firm with a 3rd rounder. Brett Veach did not, spend a 3rd rounder to get Brees Hall if those reports are true. And it's been this sort of discussion field around do the Chiefs utilize a running back enough to go and spend a third round on that particular position for a rental player versus do they have somebody or would they benefit from somebody who could take advantage of even the minimal opportunities when Travion Henderson had, 14 carries, whatever it was, or 10 carries, I don't remember what it was, but the huge day, Achane the huge day, Breece Hall takes a screen to the house, that they don't have that home run hitter, so would it be worth it, even with the minimal attempts that they have, to make the most of that, and would a third rounder be worth it for Breece Hall? I don't think so, but what say you?
Yeah, it's such a tricky one, Jason. And what I would say is this: there's no obvious answer, right? Like if you hired me as the lawyer to make the case for them to send a third round pick for Breece Hall, I can make that case, right? He's a guy who had 124 yards from scrimmage yesterday, 42-yard receiving touchdown. The Chiefs could say, hey, we're going to sign him, or we're going to trade for him, make an attempt to re-sign him, but if not, we could basically turn a third-round pick into potentially a fourth or fifth-round pick to the compensatory market, which is possible, right? That's still basically 18 months away, but there's a world in which the Chiefs could say, over the long haul, even if we pay a third-round pick, the net value is more like a fourth-round pick. There's also a world in which you could say, hey, don't do it, because that third-round pick, you need draft picks in the present year when you have a very expensive, a.k.a. very talented roster. And, their track record outside of the first round has been – they've drafted well across the board, really, right? But think about some of the guys. Noel Williams, right? How important is Noel to have right now as a third-round pick out of Cal this past year, right? But Gelati was right at the top of the third round, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
I think that was the Jarius Sneed pick, right?
Perfect.
Those are two guys that are playing meaningful snaps for you, and that tells you the value of the third round. Those guys, by the way, on top of playing meaningful snaps for you, are cost controlled for 4 seasons. So I didn't have a super strong take on the Chiefs pushing to the middle of the table versus not. I also feel like if the hard part, the problem that Kansas City has, and this is the greatest problem you can have in all of team sports, is that you can't measure a season for the Chiefs anymore other than Super Bowl or bust. I'm not convinced that Breece Hall guaranteed the Chiefs a Super Bowl. I know he did not guarantee them a Super Bowl, or else they would have given the Jets 2 first-round picks,
right?
Probably, right? But they can also still win the Super Bowl without him, right?
Yeah.
So it's a very odd needle to try and thread here for Kansas City. But I, generally speaking, do not begrudge them for holding firm on their paying price, I should say.
Field Yates from ESPN is our guest. What do you think of this Broncos matchup for the Chiefs on Sunday? Feels like the AFC West is on the line in this one. If the Broncos win, the math does not math for the Chiefs to be able to win the West, essentially. Yeah. The Broncos have won 7 straight, but, man, for all the talk last year of the Chiefs and sort of some devil magic to find ways to win, the Broncos have had some of that as well. What do you make of this Broncos team? Good defense, but, I guess the jury's still out on Bo Nix.
Yeah, great defense. Great, outstanding defense. They are so far ahead of the field in terms of sacks this year. It's not even worth checking whether each week I don't even bother figuring out who is number one. It's who is behind the Broncos and by how many sacks are they behind. Even without Pat Surtain, they're a very, very good defense. Of course, the reigning defensive player of the year, who I don't know whether he'll play this upcoming week. Seems like there's a chance he won't, but that's TBD. They are very much a work in progress on offense. Mm-hmm. They feel like a team that is still trying to find an identity, and Bo looks skittish right now, just not playing with nearly as much poise as last year. We're going to see whether they have J.K. Dobbins this week. I know that R.J. Harvey, their second-round pick, is a very exciting young player. J.K. Dobbins has been outstanding for Denver this year. 5th in the NFL in rushing, going after Thursday Night Football. I have to check where things stand after yesterday's action. But he's been rock solid. I'm dubious he plays on Sunday. The Chiefs are an excellent defense as well. But I would agree with your assessment that Sunday either slams the door shut or keeps the door open on the Chiefs winning the AFC West this season. It doesn't guarantee it, but if they lose on Sunday, it's probably not going to happen. The Broncos would, of course, be 9-3, and the Chiefs would be 5-5, and that would be a lot of ground to make up.
J.K. Dobbins, 5th in the NFL. He is 8 yards behind Achane, who had an amazing game that surpassed him. Who do you think wins, and do you have a score in mind 6 days away from this?
Yeah, I said the Broncos would be 8-3. They'd be 9. That would be 9-2 if they win this upcoming weekend. I think the Chiefs win. I know it's a tough atmosphere, but Andy Reid coming off of a bye. One of the few things in life I try not to bet against. I think they're a better team. The Broncos fans they deservedly can say that's ridiculous. We're the one that's won 8 games, and the Chiefs have won just 5. But I just got to tell you that this team is one that I haven't quite cracked the code on.
Yeah.
And Bo Nix has a lot on the line on Sunday. If they win, then a lot of people, myself included, will have a different perception of him. But for right now, I think the Chiefs win. I think this is kind of a gut check game coming out of the bye, understanding that doesn't mean they're going to be the AFC West champ, doesn't mean they're going to have a top 3 seed. It just means that this team is still going to be a force when it matters the most in consequential football.
Field Yates from ESPN, our guest. Field, appreciate the time as always, brother. Enjoy the football. We'll let you get back to work with some news there in the NFL. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jason. Talk to you soon. Absolutely.
There's Field Yates. Go ahead and hit the sounder there, buddy. All right, so as we let Field Yates go, there is breaking news in the NFL, and that is after blowing yet another lead and game, Brian Daboll has been fired by the New York Giants, fired as head coach of the New York Giants. Mike Kafka has been named interim head coach the rest of the way for the New York Giants. And so cutting that short with Field Yates, as good on him being able to do the interview while also sort of alerting me that, hey, you gotta go, which is appreciate him still being, because you never know, it might be, sorry, dude, I got to go. But Brian Daboll has been fired by the New York Giants. He is out. And a name that was around here for a while, wondering would he be the next offensive coordinator when Eric Bieniemy finally got a job. For a couple of years, the Chiefs had blocked other teams from even talking to Mike Kafka because it felt like he was the OC in waiting. Now he's interim head coach for the New York Giants as Brian Daboll has been fired. They blow that lead to the Bears. And, I mean, if Jackson Dart doesn't leave the game, I mean, honestly, that was a 3:25 or 3:05 game, right? That was a mid-afternoon game, I think. Or was that a noon game? Was that a nooner?
It's all a blur when the Chiefs don't play.
Yeah, well, Little Man had a basketball game during the 3:25 window, which I didn't care about because they were dogs. They were dog games. But, no, I think that was no, that wasn't a 3:25 because it's in the East Coast. That was a noon game. But blowing that game to the Bears and having a 10-point lead with 4 minutes to go and losing, Jackson Dart being out matters because Russell Wilson sucks. If Jackson Dart was in there, I don't know, maybe they end up winning the game, but they're now 2-8. So regardless of who was in there, they've got Green Bay this next week. They go to Detroit. They go to New England. Then the bye week. It's going to be tough to find a win there along the way, and maybe they're looking at it and saying, if he finds a way to beat the Packers or the Lions, well, then can we fire him at that point? Nope, it's another blown game. Let's fire him right now. And we move on. Mike Kafka, you're the interim head coach. So there you go. There's the breaking news in the NFL. Brian Daboll has been fired as head coach of the New York Giants. We take a timeout. We come back. More Zone next. All right, thank you to Field Yates. Wrapping up this hour, Brian Daboll out as the head coach of the New York Giants. Mike Kafka named the interim head coach. It's another job Mizzou fans have to worry about now. This coaching carousel is going to be crazy for Eli Drinkwitz, man. Who knows? Nobody knows.
If we know one thing about rookie quarterbacks, it really helps their development when you go through new head coaches and OCs every single year. We know that it makes them even better.
Yeah, it's gonna be great for Jackson Dart. He does look like they may have found the guy in New York.
Agreed.
They just have to figure out if
find the guy in New York.
The guy in New York to be the head coach of maybe the guy in New York. Maybe it's Kafka. Maybe it's Eli. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. We head up until 2 o'clock. We'll hear from Andy Reid coming up at noon. There's other news in the NFL. So we talked right before the end of the last hour that Brian Daboll has been fired by the New York Giants. Mike Kafka has been named interim head coach, and a guy who has gone from the quarterback coach for the Kansas City Chiefs to what would have been the next offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs to then OC of the Giants to now he's the interim head coach of the New York Giants. So they fire Brian Daboll, who's 11-33 in the last 3 years. After losing in the divisional round with Danny Dimes, the first year for Brian Daboll as head coach, and they get to the playoffs, they win the wild card game, they lose the divisional round game, and you think, okay, Giants are heading in the right direction. They get beat down by the Eagles in the divisional round game. The Eagles ended up losing the Super Bowl to. Oh man, I can't remember who the Eagles lost that Super Bowl to, but they did lose that Super Bowl that year. But since then, he is 11-33. Since that loss to the Philadelphia Eagles by 30 points in that game. Fired now. It gives the Giants, it's not necessarily a head start, but you start the process of finding your head coach while giving a guy that has interviewed for head coaching jobs already at least a tryout for the rest of the season to see if he is a legit candidate to be your next head coach. Because it wouldn't be the huge switch of scheme, coach, when you bring in a rookie quarterback and eventually that head coach ends up getting fired, which we've seen time and time and time again. All these number one picks in the NFL continue to have those coaches that drafted them fired their first year, especially number one picks, because, again, Callahan fired in Tennessee, now Daboll fired in New York, that there can be a little bit more continuity instead of a complete change in New York if Kafka slides into the interim coaching job and then takes over as head coach. People didn't expect Schottenheimer to be named the coach in Dallas.
Sure.
Moving from OC to then getting the head coaching job. But after interviews, he ultimately ended up getting that job. Right, wrong, or indifferent, Kafka, again, has interviewed for head coaching jobs, and now he will get a tryout of 7 games with the Giants as the head coach, and hopefully a healthy Jackson Dart. He left with a concussion. We'll see what the status is of Jackson Dart moving forward, but Brian Daboll is out. And that coaching carousel continues for Eli Drinkwitz, man. I tell you what. But no,
Brian
there's
Kelly,
some news.
probably going to be the Giants head coach.
Yes.
No, he's just going to go there and start talking about how much he loves pizza or something.
The Bronx.
He'll have a Bronx accent for some reason when he moves there.
Got to hire me at a Bronx here.
I'm rooting for Kafka. Nice to see the Andy Reid coach tree. He's had a little bit of success.
Mm-hmm.
I know that people have talked about how will they get fired. I'm like, sure, but to an extent, Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl. Matt Nagy won Coach of the Year.
Matt Nagy took that team to the playoffs.
I will never understand. I know people. It's a longer conversation.
Mitch Trubisky to the playoffs with Matt Nagy.
Pro Bowler Mitchell Trubisky. At some point, I'm like, it's not their fault that they drafted Trubisky.
It's not your fault.
It's not your fault. You blamed it on Nagy, and
Can he get them to the playoffs? Yes, they can.
So I thought that was a little interesting. How Andy Reid is like use that against, and then people go prop up Bill Belichick's coaching tree. I'm like, it's atrocious. Belichick's coaching tree is getting canned and being bleeps. Like Joe Judge, his whole persona was trying to copy him.
Patricia put a pencil in his ear while having a laminated play sheet.
Yeah, because that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
and Josh McDaniels, a couple of different spots. Now back to being OC. Like we've seen that coach at Romeo and Charlie Rice.
I am a little surprised that Daboll was canned this soon. He was from the reports, the driving force behind drafting Jackson Dart. Looks like you found your quarterback. You have your number one wide receiver, Malik Neighbors, injured. I understand that this team is...
Scattaboo had a bad injury.
This team is going backwards, and there was not expectations this year for them to be good. I thought they were going to be the worst team in the NFL. They've actually surprised me, played better than I thought, which is hilarious to say about a 2-8 team. but yet they have been, I think, in games more often than not. They had to do the stupid, let's give Russell Wilson 3 games because he's a veteran. And
I appreciate them doing that.
it was great for the KC game, of course. I don't know. I guess I've always thought that it's been the roster construction, less Daboll, but maybe if he was making a lot of these decisions, then you can blame him for that instance. Yeah, they've gone backwards. Yeah, Daniel Jones looks really good, so that is a little damning that Daniel Jones looks this good in Indy, whilst you couldn't get the most out of him in New York. I will also point out the offensive line's been so bad in New York, whilst in Indianapolis.
I like whilst a couple times.
You like the whilst?
Yes,
I'm a big whilst guy.
Keep rocking that.
While in Indy,
Whilst.
Daniel Jones has great protection. I will also point out, you see Daniel Jones under duress, he looks like the worst quarterback in the NFL.
He also has an MVP candidate that he's handing the ball to in the backfield.
Correct.
And some decent weapons when if Malik Neighbors and Cam Scatterbo are playing, do they lose to the Chicago Bears?
No, I think the answer is no.
Yeah. If Malik Neighbors is playing, do they lose to the Denver Broncos, 33-32?
Probably not.
Right.
I mean,
so they've had some of these losses that they have given away after beating the Chargers, so thankful that they were able to do that.
if they were 4-6, he's not getting fired.
Yeah, right. It's a couple of games. You're right, 4-6, because if you'd find a way to take care of the Bears. But it could be also the possibility and the opportunity they look at and go, well, this is a chance we have to fire this guy. We don't think he's the guy anyway.
Sure.
And we've learned that this year because even without Neighbors and Scatterbo, they're not finding ways to win those games. Like you need to, whether it is.
It is the NFL. You have to win. There's no moral victories. I get that.
Because there are questionable decisions in coaching and clock management and decisions that are made as a coach that can help you win a game. And there are plenty of those questions that have been there for Brian Daboll in these huge losses that they have suffered. And so, yeah, if you don't think he passes the test as the coach to have the entire team playing on the same page, and he doesn't pass the test in in-game decisions, then you must move on. And it gives you 7 games as soon as you know that Brian Daboll isn't your guy. We always say, well, what is firing the guy midseason? What advantage does that give you? Well, if they think that Kafka is a legit candidate to be their head coach, you get 7 games to see what he would do in that role as the head coach. Does he get them? What are his decisions late? Kicking the field goal, going for it, timeout, not timeout? What are the decisions Mike Kafka will make now that he's the one making those? Not just sitting back and going, Daboll called timeout. Boy, I wouldn't have done that. Okay, well, next time you get your chance now. Now you got 7 games to see if you would have done that or not.
They're home against the Packers. I will take the Giants with the points because we always know a team who fires their head coach, all of a sudden they come out and play good ball.
It's Packers on a short week, too, playing the Eagles tonight.
8.5. So we'll find out.
Well, is Jackson Dart going to play, though? We left with a concussion.
That's a very good call. If it's Russell Wilson, the answer is no. He looks.
Russell Wilson, I'll put the house on the Packers to cover that line.
But, yeah, I think it's a good call. In the instance of you want to at least see if Kafka can be the guy. I've just, and this is just me, and again, when it's not your team, it's easier to say because you don't have the passion, obviously, of a team you root for. But again, Daboll was there long enough. They were trending the wrong way, but at least this year they had some building blocks that it felt like, okay, maybe you can start getting things. When you fire head coaches, you just start the cycle all over again just to even get back to relevancy. I mean, you saw in Vegas, they go, all right, we're gonna get smart. We're going to have the adult in the room. We're going to bring in the veteran quarterback. We're going to figure this thing out. We'll be respectable. And they somehow look worse. Like the Raiders somehow look worse now than they did with Antonio Pierce, which seems vastly hard to believe.
Well, I think Pete Carroll underestimated how bad that organization was when he took over.
Correct. And so
I mean, it was the place that offered him the job. So when nobody's offering you a job, you can't really be picky about which job you choose if you want to continue to coach.
100%. But
he probably overestimated how rough that whole thing was.
But you can get it right, and you can turn things around quick. With like the Texans did it when they had it was Lovie Smith, and they had who was the guy after they won the final game of the season, and it was a scapegoat coach, and then they went with was it D'Amico? D'Amico Ryans, right? Mm-hmm. And we were surprised, and then all of a sudden, okay, no, D'Amico was the right
they had
call.
Bill O'Brien with Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, and then they went through 3 different coaches in like a year span. It was a disaster. But then they went to D'Amico Ryans, and we said, what's different this time? Well, they got it right.
Yeah.
They went through it, and somehow all the turmoil turned into some success. Looks like they're starting to tank yet again because C.J. Stroud keeps being injured, but they fought their way back and beat the Jags.
And getting the draft picks for Deshaun Watson helps.
It helps a lot.
Getting them right helps. You know?
I mean, I even go back to the Eagles. Sometimes you need to shake it up when they did it with Andy Reid, and they eventually got it right. They won one with Doug Peterson, still said it wasn't good enough, and they brought in Sirianni. For all my vitriol and disdain for Sirianni, it's tough to say they got that wrong when they did win a Super Bowl and went to another. I always thought it was silly they fired Peterson, yet it looks like they made the right decision, even though it was hard. Again, I don't know. I'm traditional, keep your coach until you absolutely know it's not going to work. Because I think people like the idea more than the result of the next person. It's just human nature to say, well, we know what this guy is, but what about this guy? What's the potential? What could he do? And more times than not, it's the exact same thing, or even worse.
Yeah, like moving forward, too, because there's other news in the NFL, and that is the Cincinnati Bengals have opened up the practice window for Joe Burrow. So he was on the IR and could remain on the IR, but they feel like he's that close. So they have 21 days to activate him, or he's out for the season. You're not going to, open up the window if you don't think he's going to be returning soon. So you got 21 days to activate him. So if you're the Cincinnati Bengals, you play the Pittsburgh Steelers this weekend on the road, then New England at home, then Baltimore after that. So are they thinking he's going to be ready for that Baltimore game, November 27th? That's Thanksgiving, by the way.
Yeah, this is tough. I mean, they have at Steelers, you mentioned Patriots, then at Ravens, then at Bills, then Ravens again.
I guess it'd be the Bills because the 21 days opened up today would take them past the Ravens game because that is a Thursday game.
Yeah.
So in theory, by opening up the window now,
it would have to be the Bills game.
It would be 3 more games that he could miss, and then the Bills for December 7th.
You got to make sure he's 100% healthy because
5 games.
If you lose one more game, you're done. I mean, you're
especially
3-6.
If you lose to Baltimore.
You're toast. If you lose to even the Steelers in 6 days on Sunday, you're pretty much done. At that point, you're 10-7, or you the best you could do is 10-7 if you won 7 straight games to end it. I get you want Joe Burrow back to at least see what you have, and you want to see him play a little bit towards the end of the year. But the offense has not been the issue.
I was going to say.
You lost scoring 38 and 42.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks you've given up 80 points.
No, you've scored 80 points and lost
that's what I mean.
total, and you lost both games.
Yeah, you've given up 86.
86.
And you have given up, over 1,000 total yards, 86 points, and no turnovers in those games. Like, Joe Burrow is not the issue.
And by the way, against the Jets and Bears. We're not talking about against prime Chiefs and Bills. We're talking the Jets and the Bears.
100%. Yes. The Jets scored 39 points on them.
If you watch the Jets play football,
that's embarrassing.
We're talking the Jets that had to have 2 special teams touchdowns to even have a chance in that game because Justin
the Broncos
Fields
scored 4 touchdowns against that team. They only got 2 scoring drives against the Raiders. We'll see what the Broncos look like this weekend because, Sean Payton loves the matchup.
The Vikings scored 48 against him.
Yeah.
Was that Carson Wentz, too, at the time?
That's a great question.
It was. That was Carson Wentz. That was the Carson Wentz-led Vikings that scored 48 on him.
Well, that's typically what you're going to get from Carson Wentz, though.
In the year 2025, of course.
Yes. Carson Wentz.
Who would have thought that Bengals defense would be this bad, huh? Except everyone.
Carson Wentz was 14 of 20, 170 yards and 2 touchdowns with a 130 quarterback rating. And then Jordan Mason was 16 carries, 116 yards and 2 touchdowns. But yeah, against that Bengals vaunted defense. So Joe Burrow is returning to practice. He's out at practice, or at least the window is opening up for them. And Brian Daboll is out in New York. And the Kansas City Chiefs have a game that the numbers show what we've talked about and ultimately what it means for this Chiefs team. With Denver winning on Thursday, they have a 58% chance of winning the AFC West. Chiefs are at 32%, Chargers 10%. Chiefs are still 22% higher to win the AFC West while being a game behind and also the tiebreaker for the Chargers. But on Sunday, If the Chiefs beat Denver, they move to 51% to win the West, and Denver down to 37%. If Denver wins on Sunday, they move to 82%. The Chiefs with a 9% chance at that point. So we know what it means. The numbers and the percentage-wise, back that up as well. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll hear from Andy Reid on the other side of the break. More Zone next. NFC West matchup Sunday, 3:25. Chiefs 3.5-point favorites. Here is Andy Reid and his opening statement at the press conference today. All right, so there you go. There's Andy Reid.
Pacheco seemed like a new one, by the way. Not Pacheco.
Yeah, or Pop. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he knows the protections, so that's why he's in the game over Elijah Mitchell. He played 2 snaps and carried it both times.
Yeah.
He wasn't in there to protect on third downs. He's not in there for the pass pro. That's odd. So...
And also saying, like, it's not. We're not saying that Mitchell doesn't know.
But you didn't even use Pacheco in those situations. You didn't need him to protect.
Yeah,
He came in twice on first down. It's not a 3rd and long where you've got that guy in a, obvious passing situation. So, Kareem Hunt's going to be in there, and not Brashard Smith probably, because you need somebody to understand protection. But it wasn't, Clyde Edwards-Helaire either, because he offers nothing to you in the passing game because he has no juice whatsoever. So if you're going to be passing the ball, at least maybe, Kareem Hunt will be in the game there on third down. But Elijah Mitchell, if he's going to be in there just to carry the ball a couple times, I'd rather Elijah Mitchell be the one that got the 2 carries over Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Not that Elijah Mitchell could have done anything with the first carry that Clyde got, because that was blown up immediately. But,
Yeah, Clyde was fine. I mean,
what's the point?
His first one got blown up, and it was not his fault. And the second one, he got 7 yards. I mean, it wasn't like Clyde did anything wrong in that game. But again, the decision is flummoxing, especially when you go, well, you know how much we like Elijah Mitchell. You know how much, and he's on our
actually,
and he's on our 53, and that says something. You're like, yeah, it does. It says a lot that you have him on your 53, and you still chose to activate and bring up Clyde from the practice squad.
You had Mike Pennell on your 53, and you let him go, so it shows how much you appreciated him. Shows how much we really like this guy. You had him on the 53. Okay. I mean, Brownlee you had on the 53. And then you moved. Like, you've got guys that have been on your 53. Now, his point being, well, he's still on our 53 this entire season. He just has not been active in any of these games. That was an odd one. Thank you to Jesse Newell for at least asking the question. But
good question.
Clyde knows all the protections, and so there's a comfort there. So I guess it would be if Kareem went down.
Sure.
We need somebody in there that we know would be able to protect Patrick Mahomes in passing situations. We know Clyde has done it. And I get the point that it's like, well, he's active. He carried the ball. He only played 2 plays because Kareem didn't get hurt.
Yeah, it's
So
the
the
break in case of
yes.
emergency, I guess.
Right. But it's just, he didn't even get those opportunities to be in there, which I'm fine with, by the way, for him not to get those opportunities. But, if that's why he's active is because he knows the protections. I know you're saying that, not saying Elijah Mitchell doesn't, but we're kind of saying Elijah Mitchell doesn't.
So then the only way, I guess, in this exercise that Mitchell gets to see the field is if Brashard Smith got injured. Because you would say that you would trust Pop, you would trust Kareem, and you trust CEH.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming they're saying that they're not
You're
thrilled by that. That's just if we're doing algebra, we're trying to figure out what does X equal.
X equals Brashard Smith.
Brashard Smith, which equals then Elijah Mitchell. So
Good call.
I guess that would mean you're only going to see Mitchell if Brashard Smith got injured.
Yep. Andy Reid continued, and he was asked how the team has handled the Josh Simmons return. All right, so the process of his return, was there anything different? The first part was the players welcoming Josh Simmons back and saying that, they understand there's some personal things, but they look forward. They don't focus on, the past. They look forward, not back. Anything different that you did in terms of his return? Not necessarily, no. What kind of shape is he in? Did he get some workouts? I'm not getting into all of that. But I know he's been working out. Okay, so not getting into all of that if he's ready to go on Sunday from a fitness standpoint. But I know he's been working out. Okay, well, there's a lot of people that work out. Did you walk on the treadmill for 20 minutes? That's a workout.
Do you think he starts Sunday?
Yes. Because if he doesn't, then there's some real issues as to what he was doing away from the team. Because had he had an ankle injury and he was out for 4 weeks and now he returns, would you say, well, no, he's returning. He's at practice. He's full practice. So why isn't he playing? Well, he just wasn't really working out or anything. Well, that was with an ankle injury. This guy didn't have an injury. No reason for him to not be ready to go and working out. Hell, Kareem Hunt was ready to go that first week, and he was working out and didn't even have a team to play for. And they signed Kareem Hunt, and he played that week, carried the ball, 23, 24 times. So, yeah, I think Josh Simmons should be playing on Sunday, or there's some real questions about the commitment away from the team as well.
I think he's starting on Sunday, too. And I think part of the reason why is you heard in what he didn't say. When he talked about Jalen Moore, he's done he kind of paused, a respectable job.
Yeah.
And Andy's typically pretty glowing, and it feels like a lot of praise for guys. And that wasn't him, I don't think, saying he's done bad, but it just felt like they thought, okay, he's done a fine job. That's Andy's word. In my opinion, Andy's saying he's been fine.
Yeah.
He's been fine. He hasn't been as good as Josh Simmons has been. Josh Smith would be surprising the Atlanta Hawks former
no kidding,
left-handed forward. Yeah,
Really
towards the end
surprising.
of his career, I think he maybe could have played left tackle. But yeah, I think the point remains.
He's tall enough.
He's tall enough.
And
He's
then
big
big
enough. Yeah. So I do think Josh Simmons will be the starting left tackle. And that was, again, me trying to suss out what Andy Reid is not saying. And when I heard respectable job, I thought, that's not as glowing of a compliment as Andy traditionally gives out.
Wednesday they practice, and I would say the first indication would be, is Josh Simmons a full participant or limited? And if he's limited, I'd want to know why he would be limited unless he's out of shape, and so he's limited. I have no idea. I can't imagine that being the case. He went through the entire summer. He went through training camp. He went through the first, 6 games of the year, 5 games of the year, whatever it was before the Detroit Lions game. And then he's been away for a month. I mean, I would hope that you'd be ready to go, and you'd be working out and ready to go, and be able to play. Andy Reid continued and says that the team understands the urgency of this playoff picture. Yeah, I'd like to see them utilize Xavier Worthy a little bit more, maybe in different ways. I mentioned it last week. I'd like to see him slide over into more of Hollywood Brown's role, and Tyquan Thornton slide over into more of Xavier Worthy's role. I don't think that's going to happen.
Sure.
But that's what I would like to see, at least.
I would actually be in the exact same camp as you, because I think Tyquan, at this point in their careers, is better on these deep balls, especially when it comes to going up and bringing it down, being a little more aggressive of high pointing the ball, coming back for the ball. And I think Xavier Worthy at this point in his career is a little better at some of those maybe intermediate routes and some of those. Again, I think he's a better wide receiver than it feels like he's being utilized as. They're using him as again, not a shot at these guys, but using him in the Justin Watson or MVS routes. And I think that Xavier is better in these technician almost-esque routes. You just feel like he has a little more to give in that regard. At least that's how I feel. I also will say when Andy talks about, we've got to clean a couple things up. Well, I get that, but you've talked about energy, or players have talked about energy a lot. That's why this conversation is continuously happening. And I know some folks listening are probably tired of hearing energy and maybe even us talk about it. But when the players keep saying that, at some point, that feels like a trend, and it's going to be talked about. It's going to be brought up. and the couple things to clean up. I don't know what all is clean upable at this.
No, that's a great word.
At this point in the season, like penalties, sure, but when it comes to stuff that you can actually clean up, you can't bring in an extra pass rusher. Clean up as in maybe run the ball more often to give Patrick a little more time back there. Run from under center more often on those short yardage situations, like when you're on the goal line. Those are semi-clean things you can clean up.
Yeah.
But when it comes to actually getting pressure on the quarterback, that's the biggest issue. I don't know how you clean that up. I don't know what Andy's going to say in that regard. He's not going to say, "Hey, we're done. We can't get pressure with 4, so we're screwed, guys." but at the same point,
What if he did though?
that'd be wild, and I think I'd kind of appreciate it, but also wish he'd be like, "We're going to fix it somehow."
You'd appreciate it.
But to me, the biggest issue for this Chiefs team is something that there's not a great answer for.
Yeah. Andy Reid continued and was asked, "Do you need more from Chris Jones?" It's a good question. Yeah, it's a good question. Self-scouting might be Maxwell Hairston talking about Xavier Worthy and some of those tipping of the pitches that he has before the snap. Alignment, effort, things like that Maxwell Hairston pointed out. Maybe they should have gotten apparently Jalen Waddle didn't have any giveaways there in Miami this weekend. We'll take a time out, come back, continue rolling, talk a little bit more about things we heard from Andy Reid. Josh Simmons is back. We'll see if he starts on Sunday. And the Chiefs have a pretty big one there in Denver on Sunday. More Zone at next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. Coming up at 1 o'clock, we'll talk with Mick Schaefer, KSHB 41 Sports Director. We got to learn funniest best in the 1 o'clock hour as well.
That's a fact.
That is absolutely. That's we got sports or leisure, learn funniest best. Good, better, best is what we got in the 1 o'clock hour. Heard from Andy Reid there, weighing in on a number of different things with this particular Chiefs team. Saying that, we talked about the injuries, Isaiah Pacheco and Juwan Taylor. So we'll have to see about Pacheco. But he said Juwan Taylor was feeling good when they got back from Buffalo last week. So
good news.
That's good. So he thinks they're feeling good after that game. So should be fine there with Juwan Taylor at right tackle. And hopefully Josh Simmons at left tackle and Jalen Moore able to play that swing tackle if need be.
Did I miss it? I don't think anything was asked about Trey Smith and his injury.
No.
And that is the one I care more about Trey Smith and his back than I do about, again, Juwan Taylor. That matters. Josh Simmons, that does matter. But if you told me it's Jalen Moore at left tackle for another week, I'm like, okay, I get it. If it had to be Wanye Morris at right tackle for Juwan Taylor for a game,
I don't know about this game against the Broncos being the one that you.
I guess you're right with Nick Benito. I guess okay, good point, valid. But to me, Trey Smith. The drop-off from Trey Smith healthy versus the drop-off of Trey Smith injured back was drastic. And I appreciate Trey Smith trying to fight through it and play through it. And that's, again, this is not me trying to criticize Trey because injuries happen. They're very unfortunate, and it's part of the game. But he went from being, I think, one of the best guards in the NFL this year to simply not good against Buffalo. And Buffalo had no Ed Oliver and no Daquan Jones. Right? I mean, that should have been a game that Trey Smith feasts in. Instead, he gave up 4 pressures, tied for the most he's given up all season long. 3 hurries, second most he's given up all season long. Give his only sack of the season. That was at least charged to him this year. That's concerning to me.
Yeah.
That's concerning. Like that is something to monitor if his back continues to not be 100%. That can't happen. Do you sit him for a game to try and let him get right?
I think that if you sit him for a game, then why did you play him against the Bills? I think if you played him against the Bills, you didn't think there was any risk of it getting hurt worse.
Sure.
Or he felt like it was fine, and then you've got the bye week.
And maybe it had nothing to do with the back. Maybe it was just he had a bad game. That's also a possibility.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think you play him before the bye week if you think there's a chance that he goes out there and injures it worse. That's going to be the question about Pat Surtain this weekend for the Broncos. With the bye week next week for Denver, Pat Surtain was not placed on IR. This would be just the 3rd game that he would miss if he was placed on IR because he would miss 4. They obviously don't think he's going to miss 4 games, but they have a bye week next week. So the 4 games would actually be 5 weeks. 3 games would be 4 weeks. So if they feel like he's only going to miss 4 weeks, then 3 games, no need to put him on the IR because you want him back for that 4th game because he's Pat Surtain. If they don't feel like he could injure it worse, then you play him if he's ready to go this weekend. But if you feel like there's a question that, okay, it's not fully recovered when you tear your pec and you're going to be pushing, pulling, tackling, things like that, it's not fully healed, then you're not going to put a guy out there that's a Defensive Player of the Year candidate and risk that thing completely tearing and then being out for the year.
Especially when you're 8-2 and quite frankly, the Broncos – they could afford
You can afford a loss on Sunday for Denver. The Chiefs can't.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And normally it's the opposite. Normally the Chiefs are in the situation of they could lose this game. The Broncos really need it. It's a weird life we're living when we have this freaky Friday situation happening where these two teams have switched. Close wins are going to the Broncos, and Chiefs are winning big or losing close. Again, just real quick on the Trey Smith thing, his overall pass block grade for the year is 76.6. Against the Bills, it was 49.6. Again, with no Ed Oliver, with no Daquan. I mean, this is just my concern, dude. Is if I had one, a healthy Trey Smith is a large difference. I think even larger than it is. Honestly, the drop off from Josh Simmons to Jalen Moore. Maybe people disagree, but.
Well, I think Trey Smith in there. I think 70%. It'd be different if it was no Trey Smith to Caliendo. I think is a larger drop off than Josh Simmons to Jalen Moore. I would say a 70% Trey Smith is probably less of a drop-off than what we've seen from Josh Simmons, how good he has been, versus Jalen Moore, who's played, as Andy Reid said, a respectable left tackle.
A respectable
It's
left
been
tackle.
respectable out there at left tackle. You know, can you just have him play a representative left tackle that you haven't had in a couple of years since that Donovan Smith year? Can you have somebody find a way to do that? Certainly, yeah. That would be great. And I think that's what they had and signed Jalen Moore for, was to be that guy that could maybe be the level of Donovan Smith. And you draft Josh Simmons because you feel like you can get a higher level there. I just like to avoid Wanya Morris in the game at all costs against Denver, because we've seen this Chiefs team when they can't protect Patrick Mahomes.
Sure.
And teams are able to drop back defensively. It's tough sledding for the Chiefs offense. And we've also seen that when they can protect Patrick Mahomes, he's MVP caliber.
Maybe you just have to give it to the guy who was running very well, but that's also a different story.
It was also a team that wasn't good against the run, as opposed to the Broncos that have a very, very good defense, but their offense is trash.
Special teams, defense, this is a game for
Yeah.
you. Chiefs defense, don't do what you did the first half against the Bills. Now difference, obviously, Josh Allen to Bo Nix, T-Bo Nix. Before and after, it's T-Bo Nix.
I see, yeah. And Sean Payton just really likes the matchup. If they'd have just got past Buffalo, they could have played this scrubby Chiefs team. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Mick Schaefer hanging out with us on this Monday edition of the show, presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk, where sports and entertainment collide. You know they do, where you can experience world-class sports facilities, including an ice rink, turf field, state-of-the-art courts, arcade games, laser tag, bowling, sports simulators, a bar and grill. Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk, where sports and entertainment collide. Little man's birthday party will be there on Saturday at Advent Health.
You send those Evite invitations, or should we still
You
be
should get
looking in the
one.
mail? Or,
You should get
okay.
one by now. I'd have to ask my wife if you got the invite. If not, it's her fault.
We
I
have
said invite
not
you.
received them yet.
I said invite you. So if she's not sending them, that's my son was like, it was first and foremost said, I want the guy who we were down in his basement that likes Peter
One
Polk.
time.
You know,
I love Peter Polk.
he's a huge Peter Polk fan.
So we have stuff. We can't go.
Oh,
I wouldn't go if I didn't have stuff.
Okay.
I think it'd be really odd to go to a kid's birthday party. I still want an invitation. I still want an invitation.
Well, it's great because we sent you
No.
an invitation knowing you can't go. Therefore, you do have to send a present.
Why can't
If you get it, it's like a wedding. If you get an invite to the wedding and you can't go, you still
Foiled
must
again by
send
Jason.
a present.
Foiled again.
Why has
gotcha.
Uncle Stu not received a invitation yet? Uncle Stu.
Why are you looking at me?
I feel like
It's not my kid.
Uncle Stu should
As
be.
far as Jason knows, that's not my kid.
Yeah, as far as I know. I mean, it would have been odd because it's different cities, but still. But yeah, you should have received it by now, Sterling. I don't know. Just
It's
show up.
absurd.
If you show up and pay your own way on Saturday, you're invited.
You show up, pay your own way,
Yeah.
and stand in the corner
Yeah,
a
you're right,
long
right.
way from the kids, as the law has decreed.
Yes,
I-
500 feet, I believe it is.
No, my mustache is gone. You can't say that anymore.
Oh, okay.
I like.
It'll be in full bloom by Saturday.
It actually might be. I like the bowling alleys at Advent Health Sports Park.
Yeah?
I love I love their bowling lanes. They're great.
We got the bowling and the laser tag going on Saturday.
Oh, laser
We got
tag
both.
is electric. It is elite, and I love the.
It's electric and elite.
It's both. And what's also awesome is their zip line. Their
Yeah.
zip
Oh,
line,
yeah.
phenomenal.
Yep.
I
usually
love
the,
doing that.
Usually the
and just-
kids ride that, but also Sterling.
You are forever 14, aren't you?
Well,
You know that Forever 21 stores?
young.
You shop at the one Forever 14 store,
But
don't you?
see, here's the deal. We don't. No one really wants to grow up. No one wants to do these things. You still have inside of you, some.
What's inside of you?
That's why I stopped. I stopped myself. But you have the childlike wonder that's
There it
still
is.
in there at some point,
Yeah, you would think.
bursting to come out.
Yeah.
And we have to just agree that no, now let's do calculus and taxes. Well, sometimes my childlike wonder doesn't want to do accounting, and I want to hop on a zip line and play laser tag. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Yeah, you're 14.
Yep. Mick Schaefer is hanging out with us. How was your vacation?
It was
it
splendid,
good?
guys.
Good, good,
So
good.
good.
You look tan. You look
you.
like you've been out in the sun. You know,
I have.
It was very nice last week. Then it got really cold. You got back in time for it to get really cold. Good job.
Brought some cold with us.
Great
but
planning.
tomorrow it's gonna get back up to 70 for 5 days in a row. That's
yeah,
awesome.
So the leaves.
Cool.
I got a date with
Oh,
the leaves on
I
Saturday.
did get home, and that's the first thing I noticed.
Yeah.
There are none up there, and they are all down here.
Yeah, I got a date
and
with the leaves.
my mother-in-law, selfishly,
What?
did not get her 74-year-old butt out the house to rake those.
I mean, if you're gonna house sit, you should probably take care of the leaves too.
Come on.
It's all
Rita.
encompassing. You know, get it together, Rita.
My
we're-
mom does that all the time.
All the time.
She rakes leaves, and she's sick.
Well,
69.
Nice.
Not a day over 45, Sterling. You'll learn that eventually. Not a day over
My
45.
mom?
Yes, not a day over 45.
No, but she acts younger than me. She's watching Trailer
She
Park
acts younger
Boys
than
now.
14?
She's watching Trailer Park Boys now. My mom, who's 69, is watching Trailer Park Boys and finds it hilarious.
It's a great show. It's a great show.
Not a
It's
day
a
over
great show.
45. Not a day over 45.
She loves it.
When did you get back? I asked this for a specific
Saturday.
question. Saturday. Okay, so you weren't back in time to watch the Mill Valley Aquinas 2-point conversion.
Baby, I
attempt.
watched it Friday night.
Oh, yeah. So,
We got a VPN. We're in the lobby. We had the quarterback's parents with us until the day before.
oh wow.
They flew
so
back.
they flew back to go to that game.
And the quarterback had the game of his life
Yes.
and pretty much anybody else's life.
that was phenomenal. Up by 14, it's like, okay, you got this thing taken care of.
Not against those guys. It was deja vu from
yes,
last
from
year.
last year.
The same amount of time when they scored, basically 50 seconds. They went for 2 last year and got it. They didn't
Yeah.
this time.
Well,
so.
going for 2 is like a 50-50 shot.
Wait, who
so
won?
that's what it turned out to be.
Mill Valley
Mill
won.
Valley won.
That's you guys.
Yeah.
Yes, Aquinas went for 2.
Nice.
And last play of the game, Aquinas went for 2 to win it.
There was time
There
left.
was, how much time was left on the clock?
54 seconds.
Okay,
The best
54
part
seconds.
was they had put Blake Jay's the quarterback for Mill Valley. They put him everywhere. He was returning punts all of a sudden. I'm sure he was playing defense because he played defense last year. And so at the end, Aquinas kicks this onside kick, and this kid comes up from the hands team, grabs it, falls to the ground. It's Blake Jay. we didn't know. I don't think his parents knew they were going to have him on the hands team. And
Shocker.
Yeah. And so it was a
Sometimes
great game.
you're
2
just an
great
athlete.
teams. And, sometimes. And I think it's combined 17 state titles between those 2 coaches and hopefully an 18th here in a few weeks.
So now, before the game on Friday, do you and Anthony Sherman fight? Is it like a boxing match? Is it a wrestling
God, I hope
match?
not.
Is it a thumb war? Are you going to arm
Well,
wrestle?
We would
what
have
do you do?
to shake hands first because he doesn't know me. And then
He knows you. Come on.
I think
And,
a thumb war might be even more scary. I feel like your thumb might just be broke at that point.
I'd be done for my whole hand. Probably.
Yeah, I think your whole hand is.
Yeah, that'd be tough if
I
it was
went
hand
to
that big.
I went to Anthony Sherman's high school several years ago when he was on the Chiefs when they played up in Foxborough because he went to a school near there and did a story on him and his coaches and all
Does
that
he know
stuff.
that?
So hopefully, I don't know, maybe not.
That'd be cool.
But anyway, that coaching staff for St. James is really cool. I like a lot of those guys.
It's gonna be a fun one. What do you think? What's the line on that one?
So here's the deal: Aquinas was the best team in the state. They're so good. St. James, their only loss to Aquinas, so they're not as good as Aquinas. But styles make fights,
Yeah.
and Mill Valley's much better at stopping the run than stopping the pass, and St. James likes to toss it around the yard. So this could be
Interesting.
down to the wire.
gonna be a
I would
fun
do
one.
a Mill Valley -6.5 right now.
Oh wow!
Was it an
on
upset?
the road?
I'm getting the hook. What's that?
Was it an upset for Mill Valley to win
Probably.
against Aquinas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting, but still a
Mill
fun
Valley.
one, though.
Aquinas hadn't lost to a Kansas team like a couple years.
Yeah, I stopped watching the Missouri side. I don't think there's any reason to care about the Missouri side after Friday night.
That was at least
What's
one,
that?
Yeah, nothing.
No idea what
nothing.
you're talking about. They actually stopped playing football in Lee Summit like 3 weeks ago. It's weird. They just
There was
decided,
a bigger upset in Blue Springs.
Oh yes,
There
you're
was
right
a
about
bigger
that. Blue
upset in Blue
Springs
Springs.
winning was a much bigger upset
Yes.
than Lee Summit's a damn good football team this year. Give them credit, but also they just stopped playing football in that city like 3 weeks ago. So that's cool. I don't know that they continue. I think after that game, nobody continues to play. So
I think that's it.
That's
They're
what I'm
like,
guessing
that's
is
what they determined.
Lee Summit
Here's
North.
the final play of all of us in Mexico watching.
Oh, that's
it on
awesome.
The screen, 18 Varsity, watching 18 Varsity.
That's pretty
with our
badass.
VPN, and we went to the sports bar. We're like, can we project this up onto one of your
You just
TVs?
got it on
and
an
they're
iPad,
like,
or I mean,
no senor.
Yeah,
no senor.
that's awesome though. There you go. That's big
At least
fans.
they called you sir.
I didn't know what that meant. I thought it was no hot guy. Are we sure senor doesn't?
It's
mean
like
hot guy?
It's like Arrested Development, the hermano, and
Yes.
the whole thing. There. What's hermano mean? Brother. Like, hey, brother.
So you made it back in time to watch
And I watched Mizzou on the
KU
flight.
and Mizzou lose.
Yes.
So you made it back in
Yes.
time
I
to
was-
take care of both of
I
those.
was watching mostly Mizzou.
He
Yeah.
flew back just so that he could have me and see me for Sunday Sound Off. You wanted me on TV with you. That's the only
we
reason
changed
why.
all of our plans.
Yeah,
That
well, I
was it
knew
once
he was going to
heard.
be in, so I was like, "Hey, Sterling, I can't do it on Sunday. Can
Yeah.
you do it for me? It's going to be Mick, and no, thank you." So that's why you were able to do, and I appreciate that.
One of our questions yesterday was, what's left to cheer for local college football
mean,
fans?
And I said, which local school can drink the most beer, the most neutrals or cutwaters?
That makes sense. Yeah, I'm not sure how you would root for that, but that could be something
you
that
would,
you would do.
count it.
Yeah, it's not like the
But,
College World Series in Omaha.
You know, like when
Yeah.
you would send pop tabs in
That's
for
right,
like
yes.
all that stuff.
Yeah, it's not like the College World
think
Series in
we could
Omaha
do
where
it.
you can count the Jello shots and who's winning that one.
You
can,
keep
yeah.
your pop tabs and you send them in. This is just
Yeah.
a simple thing that we remember doing in elementary school. Just now they're adult beverages.
Yeah. What's to root for? I mean, Mizzou root for Eli to stay as the head coach, and KU find a way to win one of these last two games to get to bowl eligibility again.
I think a fun
K-State
question.
to win 2 more games.
Who's got a better shot at making a bowl, KU or K-State?
I think-
K-State at 4 and 5.
I think K-State
I
because
think
they've got an
K-State,
automatic
'cause
win.
They've got an automatic one coming up.
Oklahoma State
And almost an automatic one with Colorado.
Colorado. Yeah.
I mean, Utah's not. I mean, I bet one of the two Kansas schools is going to beat Utah. I don't know which one.
Well, if it's KU, it'd be better.
It'd be better for KU.
Because I don't know that KU is going to go to Iowa State and win. They both have the bye. So KU's on the bye, but so is Iowa State.
Right.
I mean, it's on the road there. It's a tough place to play.
You're not going to be favored in either one of those games.
There was, Michael said on Friday, he said, if they don't beat Arizona, you don't feel like they're going to go to a bowl game this year. That was sort of the game. And, I mean, they were in prime position, up 17-7. If the pick six happens, then you're up 24-7. I feel like that's the game at that point. Instead, it was a holding call. You get a first down, and then they score a touchdown on that drive. That was pretty rough. But I was talking in the first segment, Mick, or maybe it was the second segment, first hour. But KU friends texting during the game, not a one of them thought they were going to win that game. Like
the entire time,
up 17-7. It's like I just can't.
Staple, right, of the Leipold era. And
not sure what's going to happen, And once the missed field goal happened, I had a couple of one particular person texted 24-20 final Arizona. I'm like, did it even go to overtime?
They go down and score. I know that one out.
But it's like, no, they're going to go down and score a touchdown. Yeah, but I'm like, are they going to not even in overtime? Nope, touchdown this drive.
22-19.
That would have been crazy if they had predicted that when it was 20-17.
What's been the biggest flaw of the Leipold era, which has been
closing out
really
games.
Good. That's it.
Yeah.
What's been a really good era for K is taking you from a decade-long punchline of college football, where people, more than one, have been like, you should fold the program or move to D2, whatever. Stuff that was never going to happen, but they were a punchline, and you take them to a team that should make bowls now every year. But that's been the biggest flaw. And it hasn't been as bad as it was last year, but it's been a thing this year with them. Still.
I wonder, too, the next iteration of quarterback after Jalen Daniels.
I don't think there's going to be. I think he's back next year. Right?
Michael, did Jalen Daniels sign a 5-year extension?
He's been here forever, so he might as well.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a fun question. Does Mizzou make the college football playoffs if Jalen Daniels was their quarterback this year?
No.
Seriously?
Here's a better question, and Michael, I want to know Michael's answer to this one.
Seriously?
Does Mizzou make? Hold on, Sterling. This is the new one. Does Mizzou make the college football playoff if Jason Bean's their quarterback?
Yes.
Jaden Daniels or Jalen Daniels?
Sorry.
The one with the Commanders?
Jalen. No. Jaden would, yes.
I think they make it with Jaden Daniels.
With Jaden, yes.
Yeah, I think
Jalen
no.
Daniels. You don't think
Why'd
so?
you say that?
Because the end.
We're down on Prabula. He was better than Prabula all along. Then is that the deal? Is that what you're saying? Prabula beat him.
I mean, the team. I mean, Missouri's team is much better than Kansas. I wonder the end of the
but
Bama,
also,
the end of the Bama game, the points against Vanderbilt.
What would Kirby Moore do with Jalen Daniels?
That's.
I mean, if maybe doing the same thing he was doing with Bo Prabula, and then you need the accuracy, you need some of those things with Jalen Daniels that's been lacking at times. Whereas maybe all along, Lance Leipold is better with a quarterback like Jason Bean, and a better offense with now Kettlenicki certainly helps, but Jason Bean was a backup, and it's like, oh God, Jalen Daniels is out. Here's Jason. He was really good, and they were winning games, and they were putting up crazy amount of points. Certainly, you could use more points against Arizona, but also defensively has let them down a number of times the last couple of years too. Yeah. But I think Jalen Daniels play overall. Jason Bean gets a little more respect, I think, as the days go by in KU sort of memories.
By the way, I wasn't saying they 100% would. I wonder because there's such a different play style of Prabula and Daniels, and sometimes I do wonder if a little more aggressiveness that Jalen has would have paid off more in the Vanderbilt game, for instance, when the offense was stagnant, or towards the end of the Bama game when it felt like Bo struggled a little bit.
I'll tell you the answer if they'd have landed Fernando Mendoza.
The answer is 100% yes. That this team is undefeated.
But he goes to Indiana, and they're another 10-win team, so good for them. What you needed to do was recruit his brother. That's how you get him. You land that guy. You get his brother, and then you land that guy. And
sorry, I didn't know that the answer was always just going to be a quick no. I just was wondering.
Well, I just don't understand. You're taking a quarterback from a team that can't finish games and applying him to a Missouri team that's had issues at finishing games against good teams. I don't know that correlates. Why you would
because Missouri's defense is how many times
playoff worthy. Missouri's defense is playoff
worthy. They're exponentially better than Kansas. I think that's a big. Missouri would have stopped Arizona. Mm-hmm. I firmly believe on that final drive. I don't have a question in my mind.
No. I think MU would have one fewer loss. Maybe Jalen could beat
Yeah,
Alabama
that was
or
my
beat
thought
Vanderbilt,
was
but it's very
The Vanderbilt
comparable.
game
I
was
think the
probably
Vanderbilt one.
is probably more than anything. I think the Vandy
Yeah.
game, and that was my question. I'm not saying it would have, and I'm happy with Bo. I wasn't Bo being injured really.
Yeah.
Well, I think if
End of
Jalen's
the
the
year.
answer, then maybe 30% of college football quarterbacks would be the
Well, I
answer.
think
And it could be. I'm just wondering how close was Missouri?
Not very, man. They're not close to the playoffs.
the
Three
quarterback
losses.
thing. The quarterback thing is
now.
that,
Well,
and,
not now.
and
Well,
as he's
obviously
saying,
not
like,
now.
if you had a different quarterback, then
Yeah.
maybe. But what I found the last few years, and I think this is something to keep in mind as it moves forward. Brady Cook started, and the collection was calling for Sam Horn.
Yes.
And it was like you didn't even make it a real competition, okay? You had Brady Cook go out there, play the first half. They scored like 28 points when they were passing the ball. Second half, Sam Horn went out there and handed the ball off every time, and you scored like 7. And Eli Drinkwitz after the game goes, well, one quarterback led, 4 scoring drives. The other, like, okay, really? And Brady Cook got the start. And people weren't excited about it. And then as the season went along, you're like, oh, man, Brady Cook has an ankle injury. Oh, I hope he doesn't leave the game.
Yes.
I hope Brady Cook comes back. And then you've got Bo Prabula in there, and it's like Bo Prabula, Sam Horn. Sam Horn gets injured. Bo Prabula, as the season is going along, struggling to throw the ball. And the conversation turns to maybe they'd be better off if they can run the ball like they do with Hardy and Roberts. Maybe they'd be better off with more of a throwing quarterback like Matt Zollers instead of Bo Prabula. And he stays with Prabula. Prabula gets injured. There's a segment of people going, this might be for the best, because now do they become a better offense throwing the ball with Matt Zollers? And the answer is no.
No.
So I would say what we've
He's also
learned.
a freshman going
Right.
against maybe the best team
As a
in
true,
the country.
and a true freshman at that, who played the second half against Vandy, and looked good at times, but also made some freshman mistakes. And I think it's something to look to the future of if there's a quarterback competition, and you go with a particular player, and he may be struggling. It doesn't mean that the backup's just going to come in and be that much better, and they're idiots and don't know what they're doing with quarterback. It may be. Maybe you need a better quarterback, but Eli Drinkwitz went from, finding Brady Cook and then getting Bo Prabula and Matt Zollers. We'll see what Zollers is going to look like next year, or if Zollers struggles the next few games, and then it's a real quarterback competition with he and Prabula. But if he plays well the rest of the way, I think Prabula is going to transfer
Prabula's got
regardless.
one more year.
Yeah, I think he's going to transfer
Or
regardless.
is Mizzou's next quarterback going to Fifth Hour at Platte County right now?
Probably.
What I learned is that Sam Horn is Alberto Mondesi. That the fans loved him, and he's always injured. But
Yeah.
the potential.
I guess. I can't remember one Sam
Maybe.
Horn play. The only thing I just know, he wears 21. I like that. Like the wears 21.
Has he committed yet, Rocco? He was
To
offered.
James Madison.
Well, I know, but he was offered over the weekend.
Yeah, he's not committed to Mizzou.
I didn't know
was
if he
offered.
accepted it already.
Way too late, but finally coming around.
Yes. Well, I mean, it was. You're right. It was way too late. But Gabe DeArmond said on Friday that Rocco being there was going to get an offer, and the expectation is that he's going to commit.
Yeah.
To Mizzou.
We were-
And you're right. Way too late.
We
Not
saw
sure
it.
why
Well,
it took him that long.
K-State, they haven't offered it.
Yeah.
I wish I would have known what all these recruits look like, because the hotel we were staying at was the hotel that the recruits were staying at as well.
They look like high school kids.
It was I get that, but I don't know who's who. Like
You
which,
listen. You probably blended in with them.
Yeah.
I know. I was when I went to the front desk, because they had these gift bags they're given to the recruits and all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm an athlete. I'm just listed as ATH. Just
Is that right? Okay.
like, sir, you are 31. You look like you've had some adult beverages. We're gonna need you to not ask for free bags and free stuff. I thought it was worth a try, but it was fun. We saw these guys. So I have no idea who I saw, but we saw some people get just some other recruits come in, and they were getting wined and
Illegal
dined.
bags.
Not,
oh my God.
not wined, but they were getting not even dined.
It's like, really? Okay.
They
Wow.
weren't getting wined
Might-
or dined. They were getting just free stuff, and it looked
Yes.
awesome. I would love
I bet they were
free shoes.
dined.
Yeah. There was also the talk of like once he commits to Mizzou, he'll go to a 4-star quarterback.
That's how it always works.
Just
yes.
like
the fact that he's not a 4-star quarterback is
right.
ridiculous.
It's going to take a commitment to Mizzou to then say, well, no, now he's a 4-star. So he wasn't a 4-star when he was committed to James Madison. What if James Madison's just a hell of a recruiting
Yeah,
win? They
yeah.
found this guy that's a 4-star quarterback.
You mean ranked James Madison right now?
That's a good call.
Good point.
Touche.
Yes, that's a good
Touche,
point.
sir. Yeah, touche.
It's like Missouri spot.
But also, it's like that's the part of it that we've always wondered. Like, okay, Alabama's recruiting this kid. Well, let's look at our assessment had him as a 3-star, but Nick Saban's there.
It's always
what
been
do
like
we
that.
really
Texas
think?
is on a guy. Okay,
Yeah.
all of a sudden here's a star and a half.
Why is
And
he
now
a
Rocco's
5-star?
Yeah.
This guy got a
6?
He was already a 5-star. Alabama recruited him as a 6th star. We've never given away a 6-star before. Well,
I can't remember a more runaway winner of the Simone Award than we're going to have this year. Rocco's got 39 touchdown passes in 9 games. 9 games. That's over 4 per game. And a lot of times he's got his helmet off
yeah, but
for the second half.
But the most impressive thing is that 39 touchdown passes, 36 incompletions this year.
Is that true?
30,
Yeah, he's over 80%.
39 touchdowns, 36 incompletions,
80% completion.
50 total touchdowns.
Is that one guy?
They're kind of like the Ohio State. Sorry, they're kind of like they're a great team. They haven't played anybody, but they're about to play somebody this week in Rockers, and maybe they have played some people that they've just blown them out.
How about A&M's player from Rockhurst, Kansas City guy that bounced around and then goes and makes big plays out there on the weekend? I'm like,
forgot about that guy. Yeah.
I don't remember him at all.
Who
And then he's out
was
there.
it?
I can't remember who it is. I don't remember him,
right?
and I still don't remember. Yeah, D-end. He was all over Matt Zollers in that game, and it's like he went to Rockhurst, didn't start at A&M though. Went to smaller school, bounced around, and ended up at A&M, and now he's dominating as a defensive end. It's like, that sucks, man.
Well, Missouri's defensive ends were not the issue. They were
Exactly,
very,
you're
very
right.
good.
Absolutely right about that.
Missouri's D-line was phenomenal.
Yeah. What if they put Rocco in the game on Saturday while he was there?
There's no rules left in college sports, man.
I mean,
Definitely do
A&M
it.
is the 12th man because they had somebody come down from the stands to play. That's how they got
Yes, that's right.
became the 12th man. Why can't Missouri do that? Missouri do it against A&M.
Yes.
It's the only team by rule grandfathered in. It's the only team you can actually grab somebody from the stands or the sideline to play against is A&M.
Bring an NFL guy in as well because they're
That's
already
right.
doing college basketball with NBA guys.
Chase Daniel.
Okay, I
bring
do
him
think
back.
this should be a legit thing that Missouri should be allowed in their back pocket at one point in the history. They should be allowed to have a free 5th down. They should be allowed
point.
because
They've earned that.
they've earned
Yeah,
that right. So whenever they need it, you just keep it back in your
When
pocket.
do you use it though?
Well,
you could have used it once. You only use it once.
you can only use it once. Maybe South Carolina, you say, hey, you know what? We actually think that touchdown. Well, I guess you'd have to use it on off. Well, happened against them on defense. So do you have to use it on offense?
You'd
or can you
use
be
it
like,
on offense. Why
You'd
would you use it on
Why would
defense?
you use one on
What was the
defense?
point of
Last year,
using it on
another
defense?
down.
Like on South Carolina, I'd be like, hey,
South
you
Carolina.
actually get a down taken away. That touchdown,
Oh,
you got to
you-
redo
You
it.
got to redo it.
You have
for
to
a fifth
redo
down.
it.
No,
redo
you
it.
got to do it on offense.
You got to on offense. Yeah, that's a good call. We'll figure it out at some point. But Missouri should be allowed to have a 5th down in their back pocket at some point throughout the history of.
And
the
you
school.
should also be able to kick a football to one of your players.
Yes.
So you can kick the football to a teammate, and that should be allowed too. So you get
Or
that
just
one.
into the end zone.
Yeah, just kick, as long as you can kick it.
And they also get one against Kansas, one charge that is a bogus charge that a guy gets yammed on, and they call it charge.
telling
'cause
me
they
there's
got the Keon
Tell me
Doolin-
there was only one
'cause-
wrong there. I mean,
No, but that's the
Phil
big one.
Pressey went straight to the hospital after he was mugged.
He was
I mean,
blocked.
come on. Yes.
by his body.
in his face and his arms and his
Yeah, he
body.
was blocking call. But the Keon Doolin one was
He
the
went
one.
vertical, Michael. I was watching. I'm with you. He
Vertical
went
right into
vertical.
him. Rule of verticality.
vertical.
You got to be straight up and down, not into the man.
We're shedding all these scars are coming open in this room. Get me out of here. All the Missouri
I
scars.
am handling all
What's
family
happening?
business right now.
My
That's what we're
body's a
doing.
bloody stump.
Oh man.
on this, the day of my daughter's wedding. All right. Let's take a time out. We'll come back. We get into Learn Funniest Best from the weekend that was. That comes up next. start on your way home,
warm.
too.
But yeah, neutral. Keep
Yep.
it tasty on game day. Made with real vodka and real juice. Neutral is the ultimate game day drink. Only 100 calories, no sugar added. Trying to be a little healthier, and so the no sugar added part's been something I've tried to actually cut out, and so I feel like it's healthier than drinking some heavy other alcoholic beverages at times. So neutral, great flavor, delicious, no added sugar, and again, great on game day.
So learn
Fits
funniest
in your
best.
back pocket too.
Does it?
Nice.
Interesting. Learn funniest best. What we learned from the weekend, funniest from the weekend, and best from the weekend. I've got a few learns, but I'll only use one. Last week we were each grabbed one of Mick's. Okay, I'm going to use one of
You
Mick's.
use me?
I'm going to
Yeah,
use Mick's
fine.
funniest on this
Yeah.
one. All right, I'm using his learned here.
for it.
I'm going to use Mick's best. My learn from the weekend is that I learned there's a Bills bar in Miami called the Elbow Room. And the reason I learned this, that there is a bar in Miami where a bunch of Bills fans go, that's their meeting place in Miami to watch Bills games. I learned this because Mike McDaniel did a lap around the bar with his window down after the game was over in Miami to the Bills fans. The Dolphins head coach, Mike McDaniel, decided to drive to the Elbow Room where the Bills fans
You could drive
and
all
just
the way
drive
around
like
the bar.
the block. Just
The
drive the block.
circular.
Windows
bar.
down,
Yeah.
windows down, arm out the window, sort of just looking out the window while driving by.
So he's
Okay.
He's the 2020 Raiders. Is
I
that right?
guess.
At Arrowhead.
I guess
Yeah.
you get a but he did it by himself
Worked out well for that
Just
guy.
in a car, deciding to drive around the Elbow Room where Bills fans were congregating after the game was over.
It's kind of funny. I'll give him that. It is kind of funny, but also if I was about to get probably potentially fired, I maybe wouldn't do that. But
Wouldn't be out doing much bragging
Yeah.
over the win. Yeah, that team is a game out of first place in the division. You're a game out of the number one pick, so maybe not excited. What'd you learn this weekend?
I just learned that when you get older, it's hilarious the difference of the early mornings of game days. It used to be you wake up, crack open a cold one.
Yeah, you do.
My early morning on Saturday was, any of you guys been to Shortwave Coffee? It's in the alley behind Harpo's. Really cool spot. My friend goes, you know how you know you're in your 30s? On a game day morning, you drop coffee shop recommendations in the group chat. That's what I was doing, was letting them know that this coffee shop was very, very good. I wasn't actually in Harpo's. I was in the alley next to Harpo's getting my coffee. So things change when you get older a little bit, huh?
Yeah, sure. That is true. Yeah, let's meet at a coffee spot.
Coffee
Wanna
shop
go for
Rex
some coffee. Let's go for some
game day.
coffee. What'd you learn this weekend, Mick?
There's been a Will Smith who's won the World Series the last 6 years.
Yeah.
Another Will Smith.
Catcher Will Smith,
Yeah.
2020. Pitcher Will Smith, 21. Pitcher Will Smith, 22. Pitcher Will Smith, 23. Catcher Will Smith, 24 and 25.
Yeah.
I love the AI accounts on Twitter that can't recognize that they're two different people.
Oh, really?
And the AI, it's just overran by the AI things.
I don't want to take somebody's learned funniest or best, but scoregami. Did you guys see that this weekend?
I heard it's kind of getting wonky.
This weekend, scoregami, every single final score. Scoregami. This is the only score, like every single final score
But it
was put
wasn't.
out as a scoregami this weekend. It was not a scoregami. It's like 40-22 scoregami, 28-7 scoregami. No, it's not. What'd you learn this weekend, Michael?
I learned that the Chiefs made a late push for Seattle Seahawks pass rusher Boye Mafe, and I also learned that for whatever reason, this information comes out a week later. I don't understand why we need to know Sunday morning that, the Chiefs almost made a trade for somebody.
Depends who needed to get it out there.
Yeah.
Depends if the Seahawks wanted to put it out there that we're staying with Boye Mafe. He ain't going anywhere. The people wanted to trade for him, or people pissed off about Brett Veach not doing anything. They had a deal done
We
for Boye
tried,
Mafe.
guys.
We had a deal done. They're the ones that backed out at the last second, which meant we wasted our time and resources and energy on a deal we thought was done, and it isn't done. So now those were other deals we couldn't do. So, hey, we tried. We were doing that. It's the Seahawks' fault. I don't know. What's the funniest for you, Sterling, from the weekend?
So my good friend, he's got a newborn at home.
That is pretty funny.
And he was in Columbia. He was just going to go for the morning to hang out with all the guys and stuff. It was fun. But he was going to head back not go to the game because, well, he's a brand new baby at
Yeah,
the
right,
house.
yeah.
And we found out we had an extra ticket. So he called his wife.
Uh-huh.
And his wife says, when you're already in Paris, you might as well go see the Louvre. And so that meant that he was going to go to the game. And I thought, what a line. One of my favorite lines ever told from a wife with a newborn to the husband. When you're already in Paris, you might as well go see the Louvre.
Now, the next one she texted was, your ass ain't in Paris, so get the hell home right now. You got a new kid. And Faroe ain't the Louvre, so get your ass home.
I love that. I thought that was that was an amazing text. So,
I actually wish she would have followed up with that.
It probably would have been funnier, but I just thought it was a great text. So
you're drunk. This isn't France.
Well, he doesn't drink, so he was not
drunk.
He was not drunk.
You're drunk. This isn't Rome. When in Rome, Dad? Well, you're drunk, and this isn't Rome. Mick, funniest for you?
I don't know. I don't know. But one thing happened. We were his final night at dinner, and a guy got down on his knee and proposed the table over to lady, and she clapping and everything, and we were like, "Hey, what'd she say?" She said yes, yada yada. And we went over and congratulated him later, and I made the joke of like, "Hey, we got your meal. It's an all-inclusive place." And
yeah, I love the joke.
And it was odd because when she did it, she just went back to eating her salad or anything. There was no phone calls or whatever. And so we're like, maybe this is maybe she'll call mom later. And we're like, hey, congratulations. Guy's like, oh, we got married 10 years ago. We're just gonna renew our vows. I'm like, oh, okay. The entire restaurant.
My God.
I mean, they got extra dessert brought to him. Everybody came up to him. It was a big and he let me in on the little secret of like, oh, we've been married for 10 years.
They go to different resorts doing
That's
this
so
for free
smart.
stuff,
So, yeah.
extra free stuff.
I'm like, she is diving right back into her appetizers pretty quickly after this thing.
That is so smart.
Yeah.
That's so great.
Yes, they got some extra dessert out of it.
Yeah, every time we go out to eat, it's her birthday. Or my birthday. Whose birthday is it tonight? I don't know. Let's pick
We'll
one.
see.
Yes.
Flip a coin.
Yes. What was the funniest for you from the weekend, Michael?
My funniest was actually going and scrolling on Sterling's Twitter to find what he looked like back in 2013 at his alumni weekend.
You scrolled through Sterling's Twitter
That's
all the way back to
long
2013?
No.
Would
He
that take you
posted
hours?
a photo of
Oh.
all of the alumni from 2013. Sterling looks like a different person. I guess that was over a decade. Was it a decade ago?
Typically.
Yeah.
Over a decade, yeah.
Yeah, that was 12 years ago.
Yeah,
13 years
he's
ago.
meeting friends at coffee places. That was over a decade ago.
That's
Come on,
13
he's so
years
old
ago.
now.
Yeah, that was my pledge photo.
How many
I was
pictures
pretty
of
bald,
Sterling on Sterling's account did you have to scroll through to get to
Very
that
few.
picture
Oh,
of
actually, 'cause
Sterling?
I was like, okay.
I posted when I was there.
I was like, okay, which one's Sterling? Because I thought you were gonna look different. If the name wasn't there, I wouldn't have thought it was
Well,
you.
just because my head was basically shaved. I had like a I just basically told the barber bleep me up, give me one all over. I guess I was just shaved.
Bleep me up.
Yeah.
Okay. That works. I'm looking through this composite.
Yeah.
Photo.
Bottom left. Pledge. If you're a pledge, you're me bottom.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Let me see.
That does not look like you at all.
Do I look that different?
Yeah. I thought Stephen Moorcamp was you. So here is Sterling Holmes. But here is Stephen Moorcamp.
Where? Which one? Point to him. Oh yeah, he's got the Jimmy Neutron hair like he's got now.
And the mustache, that is absolutely more Sterling
yeah.
than Sterling is.
Was that like your pledge, Dad? And you vowed
wanna be
you're
like
gonna look
him.
like him?
No, that's actually hilarious. I do see Moorcamp.
But he
Haven't
looks
seen him
just like
forever.
you, right? Look at that. Look at that photo.
I can see
I
that
could
now.
have sworn that was Sterling.
The dog.
All right, there you go. My funniest from the weekend. Let's play the shorter clip first. It's about 3 or 4 seconds or so. Tony Romo caught a lot of people off guard in the Patriots game with the way that he described how the Patriots play.
I immediately tweeted and go, do you think they were ready on the dump button?
They're
Just right
down.
there.
Well, they obviously weren't ready on the dump button.
No, after, like, if they're like, they are down if the just would have hit it, depending on what the first D was going to be.
Well, he didn't say down to. He said DT.
Yep, DTF. He decided
They're down to football. What, guys?
he decided to explain what he meant by DTF. Nope, that's not it.
Mendoza.
He had it ready. He had it ready. Jeez.
Yeah, details, toughness, and they
Oh,
finish.
they like that at CBS.
I don't know, but
front office.
Romo it was finally pretty
Well,
interesting.
Mick, what did
from
you
Tony
think
Romo.
he was going to say?
Down to football, like I
Yes,
said.
down to
Okay.
football. Yeah, it all comes down to football. This is about everything coming down to DTF, okay? Are you guys down to football or not? Either you're down to football or you're not. And clearly the Patriots are down to football this year. Drake May's down to football. So was Zach Wilson. So let's go to the best from the weekend. What was
Nice
the
dismount.
best for you, Mick Schaefer?
We were reminded that Friday Night Lights was a documentary and not a movie. Did you see this?
I saw this, yes.
Lubbock High, Amarillo High, and Amarillo Caprock High School all met at a gas station to do a coin flip to see who would earn a playoff berth to the Texas high school football playoffs. Only one of the three. And it's pretty kind of. I feel like you can put some rules in place, even more rules where this doesn't happen, but it's kind of cool that it happened.
I love it at
Yeah.
the gas station, too. Some of the
Gas
gas
station,
station.
like
just-
right in between.
Yeah.
I love that every single handshake and hug was the
Oh, the pat. That's the new hug, yeah.
you give the high five and then give the bro
Yeah.
slap. Every single one.
But and all of them like knew the
Good
rules.
God, man.
All of them knew the rules. It was like, this is what we do, and everybody was cool. Afterward, like, all right, you won.
And they walk right up to the
Go
guy
in.
and he goes, "It's God's plan." And the other people were like, "I believe in God too. I also believe in God. Why is it? When do I get to see the sailboat?"
God believes in Amarillo, but not Lubbock.
That's exactly right. Yeah, West Texas at its finest, a coin flip. Whoever the odd man out is the one that wins.
Now, to
We
be
got
fair,
head over
I'm
here.
guessing they've got like not great records. Otherwise, you would have been in the playoffs already. So.
But the three-way tie, we got heads over here, and just the drama of this one, that's heads.
You
that's
got
heads right there.
you got tails.
What
You
do we
have
got
if
over
it
there?
lands
Yeah,
just
if it lands-
straight up
Oh,
and down.
dang it, that's the worst one. If you
Like,
do like a dude
green and
perfect,
roulette. It's like green and roulette.
you do perfect, it lands on its side, then yes.
All right,
You win.
we're going to play roulette. You got red, you got black, you got green.
Yes. What was the best for you from the weekend, Michael?
I kind of spoiled it a little bit earlier, but it had to be Gus Johnson's call.
yeah.
Just go ahead and play
Ooh, let's hear
this.
Oh, no.
I mean, just an elite
His
call.
voice cracked.
He
His
couldn't
voice
even
sounded
get
like
through it.
Mario
Peter Brady
at one
three
point in it.
times.
Yes, you couldn't even play it again. Trying to say Omar Cooper.
Five times.
Give him the trophy now. But that was Omar Cooper that he said. Can you make out when he says
I
Omar
could,
Cooper?
Now that you said that.
Now that
Yeah.
I would not have
Play it again.
guessed.
Play it
until you
again.
said
Find
it.
out when he says Omar Cooper. Here.
There.
Unbelievable.
Did he inhale a whole bunch of helium before that call?
His heart probably stopped.
He's completely lost his
That
voice
was fun,
there.
though. Honestly, fun.
It's one of the greatest catches we've ever seen with everything that went into that game. Playoffs, conference championship on the line, all of that stuff.
I
With
like the
that
guy
toe
who
tag.
outed the ref in the end zone and said, we're going to talk about bad refs. And he said the guy's name, that's a good ref. He called that a touchdown in real time.
That's
That was
exactly
incredible, by the way, because if you looked at it, it was the right position, just staring
it was
it down.
amazing.
That was
I mean, it helps in college. Only one foot has to go down.
Yeah.
And it's got to be tougher to call in the
phenomenal.
NFL. But that was great all around.
My best from the weekend was little man's birthday party with the family. That was great. And for his birthday, I got a Carter Jensen jersey. That was cool.
Wait, for his
what's
birthday?
Up? What's up? That is what happened. But anyway, turns out there was a mistake in the size that was given to
That's a-
little man.
that's
so
a big mistake.
my brother was like, "There is a story to this, Everett. So as you open that up, don't worry. Very big, but like that's your dad's. Yours is on the way." Like,
Did he
and
get a youth large instead of a normal large?
well, his is on the way. That'll be signed. So his is on the way. That'll be an autograph.
That's cool.
Number 22. What was the best for you?
Mizzou still has troughs.
Okay, that's the best for you. That makes sense. That's why it would be the best.
Well, you
That's
can move
disgusting.
through. We can move through quicker. What do you
Out of
mean?
all the things that make it the best from the weekend, the you peeing next to a bunch of men in a trough
well,
is the
no,
best for
because
you.
you can just go quicker.
Let me guess, you had to pee a lot because you drank a bunch of beers.
Bunch of neutrals.
You know, he is 14. That's what he is. I don't like the stalls. It's a trough. This is cool. I've never seen this, Daddy.
You drop your pants all the way down.
I do the butters. You drop it all the way down, and then you lift your shirt up, and then
All right, wrapping up the show. Mick, thank you, sir. Appreciate you as always.
Good to be back.
Love talking with you, man.
You know,
Yep.
if you want, I can come
Advent Health
back on
Sports Park.
Everybody
Missed you.
Wins on Thursday to
Wednesday?
make up for the days I missed.
Wednesday? Let's do that.
Okay.
We win.
No more Butters talk.
No more. Well, off the air. That's
There you go.
kinda all I'm
You
thinking
know who's
about
on the
now.
air? Next,
Serpent.
Petro, the program right now.